Well, it's a rare sight for mid-Michigan in January. A bright, sunny day outside here in Midland, but inside, we're getting you ready for the back end of the home and home here from the Midland Civic Arena. Hi again, everybody. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. Reagan Cleaves alongside Michael Rosenkrantz here at the Midland Civic Arena. Happy to have you along as the Central Michigan Chippewas and Northwood Timberwolves close out the weekend set here in just about 20 minutes time. Well, Michael, last night was a very good night for Central Michigan despite the result. They only lost 3-0, but they lost 3-0 to one of the best teams in Division I.
No doubt, Reagan. Central Michigan played a full 60 minutes yesterday, and again, the result doesn't show it, but it really speaks to the effort and the confidence that the Central Michigan team showed yesterday. Now they turn around to Midland Civic Arena, not too far away. A little bit of a quick turnaround for this Central Michigan team, but it's a bigger sheet of ice, an Olympic sheet of ice, so a lot more time and space and able to play loose tonight.
And we'll see how that affects the game again. 15 feet wider on this Olympic sheet. A unique thing in the MCHC East. We don't see that a lot, but we do here tonight here against the Timberwolves. Let's take a closer look at last night's game. Central Michigan got off on the wrong foot pretty early. Zach McCarthy got his third of the campaign, just scoring just 4 minutes and 41 seconds into that game, Michael. And despite that early goal, where Central Michigan has only had 2 wins all year when they've allowed that first goal, they seem to be right in it, and they were able to keep step for step with Northwood.
They really did. Yesterday, when I got a chance to speak with head coach Brennan Martin, he kept that same message. Play loose, have fun, play our game. And I think the Chippewas did that. They played with confidence, and they were able to match Northwood step for step. Now they're looking to do that again today. And again, it's all being able to get out to a fast start if you're Central Michigan, which is something they struggled with most of the season.
Yeah, and Caleb Woolery was one of the big stars for Central Michigan last night
doubt.
in that 3-0 loss. 50 shots against only 3 goals on the night, 47 saves for him. And one of the biggest, didn't count on the score sheet, a penalty shot goal, or a penalty shot about halfway through the second period. Julian Johnson covered the puck in the crease after a wild net mouth scramble. That gave Cooper Harfoot a chance to extend the lead for Northwood, but Caleb Woolery came up big as he did all night.
He really did, Reagan. And again, he may have gotten his 7th loss on the campaign yesterday, but he's a goaltender that plays with so much confidence, so much poise, and able to stand tall in his crease. And he was making highlight save after highlight save yesterday, so it's a huge credit to him. Although it's 3 goals on him against the score sheet, 47 of 50 is nothing to hang your head over.
Yeah, and he was perfect for all but one through the first 40 minutes. Then Milos Todorovic and Aiden Badinko got on the score sheet with their 10th and 9th goals, respectively, just 2 minutes and 1 second apart in that third period. Todorovic was a giveaway in the neutral zone. He stepped right in, snapped it over Woolery's glove. Not much he could do about that one, but again, not a bad loss for Central Michigan by any means. That pushes them to 10-4-1-0 on the campaign, 19 points. With a 3-5 record in the MCHC East. They still sit third despite playing the most amount of games in division thus far. Only one more series remains for them, and that comes the second to last weekend of the year against the Michigan Wolverines. This is their 5th road game in 6 games, Michael. Lots of time on the road in the last couple of weekends, and going back to the end of that first semester, but one of the biggest differences between the home and the road play has been the power play. My goodness, has the power play struggled at home, and it's struggled in general the last couple of weeks. Only 2 for their last 31, and that's going to have to change going into the MCHC East playoffs in just over a month.
Reagan, you hit the nail on the head. The power play has been one of the Achilles heels for Central Michigan this season. And for the Chippewas going forward, they have to develop some chances, which they did yesterday. And in talking with head coach Brennan Martin today, he wishes that they could have challenged Aiden Schultz a little bit more yesterday. So should they get on the power play today, they'll want to go at Northwood's netminder today a lot more close and really throw him out of a loop for a little bit.
Yeah, Chippewas only managed 28 shots, the fewest they've had since back against Oakland on November 22nd, when they put up just a measly 23 shots on goal. But that's kind of indicative of how the last couple of months have gone for Central Michigan. They're 3-7 in their last 10, but that's been a lot of games against the big time opponents. Lawrence Tech ranked currently in the top 10, along with Oakland, another top 10 team in the ACHA. And then you get a D1 opponent like Northwood, and you only come out losing 3-0 to a team that's pretty darn good, despite the fact that they're sitting most of their starters. I think that's at least a pretty good takeaway.
Oh, no doubt it's a takeaway. And this is the kind of opponents you need to play in order to make your march not only towards the playoffs, but build momentum and really say to yourself, we can play against these big opponents and we can play them with confidence.
And speaking of those opponents, Northwood comes into tonight with a 19-2-0 record. Their only two losses coming to John Carroll back in just the second weekend of the season, and then a series split with Calvin, who just yesterday upset number 3 Liberty down at Liberty earlier on yesterday. So again, a big win for them. They got that win here on home ice. They are 10-0 when playing here at the Midland Civic Arena on the Olympic sheet. And again, they're a very young team, as we touched on yesterday, Michael. They have 15 freshmen, 12 sophomores, including their 3 goalies, who have all played very well this year. This team has a lot of room to go. And if I'm the rest of the ACHA's D1, I'm a little bit scared.
I would be too, Reagan. It may be a total of 27 underclassmen, but they have a lot of experience, and they are playing lights out. I already touched on one yesterday, Owen Croston. He's got 15 goals in the campaign for 24 points, but that barely scratches the surface of what this Northwood team can do going down the line. They're certainly a team to watch out for in the future.
Indeed, and this Northwood team has won 2 consecutive games against the Central Michigan Chippewas, pushing their record to 16-3 all time between the Chippewas and the Timberwolves. However, Central Michigan, that's the first time they've lost back-to-back games against these Northwood Timberwolves, and it's going to be a tough task tonight. But that just shows how much growth this program in Northwood has undergone over the last couple of seasons.
No doubt. Northwood started as a D3 team, made the switch to D1, I believe, at the beginning of this year, made the switch to D1, and a lot of growth has happened. Now, next year, Northwood bringing in a Division III team to complement this Division I team, as most colleges are starting to do, a D3 team and a D1 team. So some of their guys could get recruited to the D3 team, but most of these guys show lots of talent at the D1 level, and there is plenty of room for growth down the line.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see where these guys go in the future. Central Michigan's going to be in that situation next year with the D1 and a D3 team as well, with the Division II team getting the call up to the top division of the top club league in the nation. So those year 2 teams will step aside, come back, take a look at our impact players. That's coming up here on the Optimex pregame show, brought to you on CCHN. Well, just as the teams are getting finished up, warming up down below us, we're just getting started here on CCHN. Time now to take a look at our impact players for the Central Michigan Chippewas and the Northwood Timberwolves.
Absolutely, Reagan. Starting out with Central Michigan, I'm going to go with Nick Coonan. 23 games played. He only has 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points on the campaign, so hasn't really shown a little bit of scoring ability, but what he is showing with confidence is his ability to defend the zone. He's such a gritty, hardworking defenseman. He is not afraid to backcheck. We saw that forechecking and backchecking pressure yesterday for Central Michigan, kind of reminiscent to what Calvin was doing against Central Michigan. So if you're the Chippewas, you're going to have to keep that pressure on all throughout the contest today and continue to be able to match Northwood step for step, because they're a very fast team, as we all know. Second player I'm going to go with is Owen Campbell. 16 games played. He's got 6 goals, 5 assists for his 11 points in the campaign. Returning from an injury, and he's a big presence on this power play. And you and I already kind of touched on it. The power play has been the Achilles heel for Central Michigan as of late. It's got to get going sometime soon, Reagan.
Yeah, indeed it does. And on the other side, 2 guys we saw last night get in on the action. You got Milos Todorovic and then Alex Bedinko, both guys who are top and are captains for this Northwood team, and they're very productive players on the ice.
Oh, no doubt, Reagan. Milos Todorovic scored the second goal in the contest yesterday from point-blank range over the top right shoulder of Caleb Woolery. And in 21 games played now, entering number 22 today, he's got 10 goals, 20 assists for 30 points on the season. He's another one of those players for Northwood that has got blazing speed. As you mentioned, one of the captains on this team. And with that 10th goal in the season, he's now got double digits in both goals and assists. Is certainly very productive, Alex. But Denko, on the other side of things for Northwood, he's got 20 games played of his own. He's in search of his 10th goal. He's got 917 for 26 points on the campaign. He's high scoring, and he's a very disciplined player. Doesn't commit a lot of penalties, and he is another very fast, very physical playmaker for this Northwood team.
Yeah, Todorovic loves playing against these Central Michigan Chippewas. In 3 games in his career against the Maroon and Gold, he has 2 goals and 1 assist, leads the team he's one of the active leaders for the Timberwolves against your Central Michigan Chippewas. Turning the page now to our keys to the game. Obviously, Central Michigan is up against a tough task, playing one of the top-ranked teams in Division I, but there is still a lot they can do, as they did in the first 2 periods last night, to stick close to this Northwood team.
No doubt, Reagan. Taking a look at your keys to the game. It's a broken record, but again, you got to start quickly. Northwood, it seems like each period yesterday, Reagan, they were starting, and Chippewas ended up icing the puck down the sheet here, which resulted in a very quick offensive zone draw for Northwood. So that's the kind of team that they are. They want to get off to that fast start, and they want to keep that offensive zone time to as much as possible. And Central Michigan, they showed also a bright spot in the offensive pressure yesterday. They're going to have to keep that going in terms of forechecking and backchecking, and finally keep the energy at a high. You played with very good confidence yesterday against a very tough Division I opponent in Northwood. So in order to try and keep your heads held high again today and to look to steal a win here, that energy is going to have to be high for the whole 60 minutes.
Indeed. We'll see how the Chippewas come out of the gate with their energy in just a couple of minutes. Zamboni's back on the ice. We'll step aside for about 30 seconds, come back, and take a look at the MCHC East and the games that are going on around the division. You're listening to CMU D3 Club Hockey on CCHN. Back here inside Midland Civic Arena, Reagan Cleaves, Michael Rosenkrantz with you live and radio ringside here in Midland. Let's take a look at the MCHC East Division standings. They have not changed one bit since earlier this weekend and yesterday. Lawrence Tech still sits atop the division with 5 wins. Oakland behind them with 4. Both of them are undefeated in division play. Central Michigan with 3 wins and 5 losses and 6 points still sits third. They're sitting 1 spot ahead and only 2 points ahead of Michigan, who only has played 3 games, and they're 2-1. So Michigan probably, if given past track record, will probably leapfrog Central Michigan. But still, that series toward the end of the year is probably going to be a first-round matchup, but first-round preview like it was a year ago. As we take a look below Michigan, Adrian comes in at 5th with a 1-5 record through 6 games, 2 points. Their 1 win coming against Central Michigan. That was a tough game to lose on the road.
It sure was, Reagan. Anytime you play against a divisional opponent, it's so imperative that you try and win each and every game that's presented to you, because those division standings are what's going to shape the MCHC playoffs. And while you don't want to have while you don't want to have that loss lingering in your head, you'll certainly have a chip on your shoulder come playoff time when it's win or go home.
Indeed, win or go home. That comes up just at the start of the month of February. Michigan Flint 0-4 in division play. They bring up the rear. Speaking of Michigan Flint, they're on a 3-game weekend road trip out to the Keystone State at Pennsylvania. They took on Johnstown last night, lost 3-2 in overtime. They take on Penn West California tonight at 5:30, followed by IUP tomorrow at an eye-watering 10:30 a.m. We had a pretty early game against Loyola Chicago last weekend, and I thought 1:20 was early for a ACHA hockey game, but I am proven wrong. 10:30 a.m. And I believe this, a little bit tangentially, I believe I saw Texas plays a 8:30 game this weekend.
Oh,
AM.
my goodness.
I don't know how they do it. Either way,
No doubt.
Michigan Flint taking on Penn West and IUP later on here this weekend. Michigan and Notre Dame in a 2-game weekend set. Big win by Notre Dame yesterday. Again, another top 10 matchup, but Notre Dame gets the win in overtime, 3-2. They'll face off again tonight at 7 p.m. No word on scratches for either team here tonight, though we do know that Isaac Gleisner is getting the start for Central Michigan. So he will make his 10th appearance on the year to yet again tie Caleb Woolery in the games played lead for the Chippewas. We'll see who the Northwood Timberwolves put out later on here in just about 5 minutes' time here from Midland Civic Arena. Well, we'll step aside. We'll come back with a coach's show conversation that Michael had earlier on today with head coach Brennan Martin. In fact, we'll keep it right here and send you to that conversation right now. You're listening to CMUD3 Hockey on CCHN.
Welcome back to Midland Civic Arena here with Central Michigan head coach Brennan Martin. Coach, although last night's result wasn't what you wanted, it was a very valiant effort for 60 minutes. What did you see on the ice last night?
Yeah, I think they played a full 60-minute hockey game, and to see them go down 1-0 and battle through that, that's something that we haven't really seen in the past with them. So they didn't give up. They kept playing. I wish we would have tested that goalie a little bit more. I think there were parts of that game where we looked like we were the better team, and then the D zone, I thought we played really well. I mean, look at our goalie Caleb. I think that's probably the best game he's played in his career at Central, and in my opinion, one of the better goaltending performances I've seen in my time at Central. So when you have a goalie like that that's on, he can keep you in a game against any team, and so I really liked their effort last night.
No doubt, a very confident performance from Caleb Woolery. Taking a look at the offense, you guys generated a lot of chances, particularly on the power play. You were cycling the puck very well. What'd you see out there in terms of chances yesterday?
Yeah, the opportunities were there. That's something that you and I talked about yesterday in our coach's show, and trying to generate those opportunities, and then you have to go and finish it. But to see them get those opportunities, I know we've talked about it before, but on the power play, that's what I'm looking for, right? Like, you have good puck movement, you're not going to score every time, right? The average on a power play is going to be around 20-25%, and so the reality is you're not going to be able to score every time, but if you're getting good movements and you're getting good opportunities, to me that's a success on your power play. Whereas like that second unit that we had yesterday, I think they struggled a little bit more trying to break the puck in, but once they did, if they had that offensive zone face-off, they were generating really good opportunities. Both units were. So, and then we went 100% on the kill, but we stayed out of the box for the most part, and so that I really liked the effort yesterday.
Coming back to Midland Civic Arena, as you probably know, it's an Olympic sheet of ice. How excited are you guys get back out there and play on such a big sheet of ice?
Yeah, I personally, I really like the Olympic ice. You have a little bit more time, you have a little bit more space. That's what I'm telling my guys today, and we have some fast players on the team, so they're going to be able to use that speed. And when you talk about beating guys wide, you're going to have a couple extra inches there, right? Versus on the NHL sheet. So we have some fast players on the team. I think they're excited. I think they're going to be creative today. That's kind of what the mindset is, just have fun, be creative, play loose out there, and let's try and score some goals today.
Hopefully it'll result in a Chippewa win. Coach, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Central Michigan head coach Brennan Martin. Stay with us. More after this. Puck drop coming up next on CCHN. Time now to take a look at your starting goaltenders for today's contest. For Northwood, Central Michigan's got a tall task at hand, Reagan. They turn to one of their sophomores, Mason Matthew, who's playing in game number 17 today, but he has a 14-1 record, 135 goals against average, and a 948 save percentage. For Central Michigan, as aforementioned, they turned to Isaac Gleisner, making his 10th appearance today. He's 3-6 on the year. Has one shutout, which came back against U of M Flint back in the month of November. 382 goals against average and a 915 save percentage.
It's a tall task indeed, not only because of the netminder, but also because of the starters who return for Northwood here tonight. They've got Bryce Garber, Milos Todorovic, and Donald Gooley, their forward line. Those three are the top three leaders in points for this Northwood team. For Central Michigan, they go with Chris Martin and Kyle Bowerson on the defense. Porzondik, Campbell, and Gibbs, their forward line. Backing up the D for Northwood is our Chase Temple and James Sickman. Central Michigan and Northwood. Game 2 of the weekend is underway as the puck is dropped by linesman Chris Thayer, and we play on. Northwood moving left to right in the home white uniforms with blue stripe across the middle, much like the Montreal Canadiens look, except with a little bit different color scheme. They've got blue pants and white socks as well. Central Michigan right to left in the all maroons and gold helmets. Quickly Northwood into the zone. It's an errant pass back to the blue line, and Sigmund will play tag with his D partner. Now over the line, here's Moulet across that line left side, cutting in with a shot. Pardon, that's Garber. It's up and out of play. 34 seconds in, and it's Northwood getting some really good forecheck pressure early and starting things quickly.
Yes, they are, Reagan, and again, much like yesterday, knew it was going to be a sign. Northwood, very fast physical team out of the gate. A couple errant passes, though. Central Michigan making their presence known as well early.
Indeed. It'll be AUU and Morgan to dig in. Draw to the right of Gleisner. Won by AUU, but it splits the defense and will trickle all the way back into the Northwood end. Picking up the puck back there is DeLauro. Shovels it to the near side, and Northwood is out left to right. Quickly over the line, Nyes with speed, cuts around the defense, moves in, a pass out in front, snap just wide. Penalty coming up on Central Michigan on the hook. Across the way, AUU. Cutting up to the point, dishes it near side there for March. He holds it right point, shot through traffic, cut off by Gilgren. And a penalty coming up here on Central Michigan. So not what you wanted to do, put yourself down shorthanded early against Northwood.
Not at all. Luke Nyes made a great move, was able to receive a pass and just work in with speed right up through the center of the zone and try to cut in on Isaac Gleisner to his left and got hooked from behind. Minute and 2 seconds into this one. Northwood already on the power play.
First penalty of the game for Northwood. 0 for 3 last night. Josh Gilgren to the box for hooking. Face off to the left, won by Todorovic. However, Northwood gets it to the line. Chippewas can't get it out, though. Across the way, stepping under the bar down, they score. Bryce Garber, how do you do? Back to the lineup on the scoreboard, 1-0 Northwood. It's a power play tally.
Well, that didn't take long, did it? Bryce Garber calmly gets a pass, has that shooting lane, has great vision, and just goes bar down over Isaac Gleisner. That only took 9 seconds on the power play, 1 minute 11 into this one, and just like that, it's 1-0 Northwood.
First power play goal of the weekend for Northwood, and Bryce Garber, who has tormented the Chippewas in the past, is in his freshman season, played 2 games against the Chippewas, 2 goals and 1 assist when he was playing with the Thunder down at Trine. Took a couple years off of ACHA hockey, played in the NA3 AHL with Milwaukee and West Bend, but has made his return to the American Collegiate Hockey Association and back into the lineup to torment the Chippewas here today. Now the Chippewas in the offensive end can't get that done. So McCarthy, as you might have heard, getting the assist on that tally. Once again, factors in on the opening goal. Look out, a feed in front. Zwick playing it off the end boards, just snapped it wide on the short side. Now Northwood fires it across to the near side. Lots of open ice here on the Olympic sheet. Northwood rattles that around behind the boards. Gleisner fed it to the near side. Here's Harfoot. Denied on a penalty shot last night. Tied up along the half boards near side. Johnson goes in to help him out, as does Johnson. Jace and Julian out there for the Chippewas. Jace unable to get it out. Here's French stepping down the right wing side. Centered it out in front off of a body right under the stick of Jace Johnson, who just slaps that on ahead. The goal scorer, Garber, will play it at center. Pass up the far wing. French tied up in the neutral zone by Armin Trout. Loose change picked up there by Sigmund. Sigmund out of De La Salle will fire it in on goal. Garber right behind the net. There with Martin. They get it tied up. Pokes free to the far side. Todorovic down low to pick it up for Northwood. Todorovic around to the near side corner. Backs it up top for Sigmund. Right point wrist shot. Saved by Gleister. Pops up in the air. And it settles back down. Grolo took a spill. Almost hit the linesman up to the point. Here's a shot from the left side. Blocked out in front. And the rebound will be controlled here by Julian Johnson. He tried to dish that on ahead, took a deflection onto the stick of Grolo. Worked from behind, though, by his opposite number, Zwick. Miller steps in, shot saved by Matthew. Rebound behind the net, controlled here by Grolo. Winding his way around the zone, wanders into the top of the slot. A shot, big save there by Matthew. Matthew's been sharp all season. As Michael mentioned, a minuscule 135 goals against average, 5 shutouts. And he has won 12 straight to start the year. Only allowed 15 goals in that span from September 27th to November 20th. So a brick wall in net for Northwood. The Chippewas have got to find a way to solve him. 4 minutes gone. Northwood leading 1-0 off of Garber's 23rd of the or 24th of the year. His team lead in that category. Now Nyes across the line left wing for the Timberwolves. Centered it out in front. Kamara's stick got caught up in a UU. He wants a penalty. Now he's standing in front of the crease without a stick. Now Saselski working on Grolo in the near corner. Nyes sweeps in to pick up the loose puck. Down the wall to Saselski. Behind the net, AUU in the corner. Lots of room with the Olympic ice. Dropped it off for Nyes. Nyes back up to the right point. March shot through traffic that deflected off of Grolo and almost into the net. Chippewas hemmed in their own zone here. Wrapped around to the near side. Kamara still without a stick. He's parked out right in front of the Chippewa net. Not sure if he's hurt or anything or just lost his stick. Chippewas send this down the ice, icing the call. So Kamara and the rest of the Chippewas will have to stay out here. But again, this suffocating pressure is what we saw last night from Northwood.
Absolutely, Reagan. And they are pouring on that pressure like it's no big deal at all. They're so used to being on this Olympic sheet of ice, using that time and space very fluidly. Chris Armentrout, on an earlier play he got tied up, was hunched over as he went to the bench. We'll keep an update on him as we hear more.
Sam Kamara from behind his own net will wire it out of the zone. At the neutral zone, it'll be taken by Summit. Rink-wide feed near side to Stemke, the Mount Pleasant native. Playing on this Northwood team, led the Mid-Michigan Raptors, the high school co-op, last season. He wired it around the boards. Chippewas from the neutral ice will have to chase this back into their own zone. Stemke on the attack. Pressuring Kamara. Chippewa president got to the near side. Off the end wall on the rink-wide feed. Bounces around at the neutral zone. Controlled at neutral ice by McCarthy. He gets tangled up with Siraki. No penalty coming. Stemke will dish it up the near side, and it'll be sent in here by White. Grimes behind the net, pressured by Connor White. Morgan spins around in the far corner. Zwick on the forecheck. Chippewas get it back out to the neutral zone. 6 minutes gone here in the opening period. Chippewas only one shot on goal. Northwood dominating the pressure. Big hit by Hutton on Harfoot right at the Chippewa blue line near side, but that's going to be a penalty on CMU for interference. It's always good to bring the body, but you got to be careful when you do it, and the Chippewas Hutton just a tad too late on that hit, and it'll be yet another power play for Northwood. You're just 5:59 in.
Yeah, Central Michigan has barely gotten any offensive zone time, Reagan. Northwood skating fast. They're playing physical and already back on the power play. They're already 1-for-1 with Bryce Garber getting his 24th.
And now, previous power play only lasted 9 seconds. They win the faceoff once again. Summit right point. Trades places, walks the line across the wave. Back to the near side, Sigmund. Right wing circle. Centers it back up for Summit. High slot shot. Oh, that one just deflected wide off of a tip by Saselski in front. Across the way, AUU. Stepping free in the left circle, his shot deflects up and out of play. Good play there by Bowerson to get a stick in front of that. and knock it up and out. 1:36 to go in the Hutton penalty.
And that's what Central Michigan has to do, Reagan, on these penalties. Have your defense help out your netminder. Saw that yesterday with the defense in front of Caleb Woolery. Yes, it was 3 goals, but a lot of that was really great defensive help all throughout the contest.
Another face-off win. Sigmund across the way. Gets it to AUU. Up top to Sigmund. Shot snapped just wide. Siselski again parked right out in front. Siselski tried to pull it off the end wall. Loose puck left circle. Morgan gets it to the point. Not out. Kept in by Sigmund. Off the wall. Across the way. Back up top for Sigmund. Fakes the shot. Right wing circle. Summit. Tried to slide it across. Fanned on it. Now Martin comes away with it. Chris Martin with speed. Over the line. Centered it to Siraki, but he overskated it. And Northwood will regain control. They can't get it out, though. Morgan slaps it right back down behind the Northwood net under a minute to go in the Hutton minor penalty. Here's Nines. Cutting through the neutral zone with speed across that line right wing. Pulls up along the half boards, back up top. Here's McCarthy. Across left circle, back up top McCarthy. He'll work in, shot, big blocker, saved by Gleisner, and the rebound was just put wide by Stemke. Garber across the way. Here's Gooley cutting it with a shot, snapped it just wide. McCarthy again keeps it into the right point. Hold, wander in, across to Garber. Back up top from McCarthy. Right wing circle a shot. Save, rebound, just put wide by Stemke. My goodness, Gooley thought it was in the back of the net, and from this angle, I don't blame him. Now, Garber once again dishes right wing side for Gooley. Back to the top of the right circle. Garber fan on the shot, and Morgan's able to clear it out. 7 seconds to go. But that possession there from Northwood was suffocating.
It sure was, Reagan. It was absolutely relentless, but Central Michigan, good job to kill off the Lucas Hutton penalty. Northwood now 1 for 2 on the power play. Central Michigan now 1 for 2 on the PK.
There's a broken stick in the neutral zone. Won't stop McCarthy from entering the zone right wing. Slap shot just wide of the toe pad there of Gleisner, and the rebound will trickle all the way back into the Northwood end. That's how much steam it had on behind it. 11:35 to go first period. Central Michigan and Northwood battling it out in Game 2 of the Battle of M20 here this afternoon. Siselski will work things out, chip it off the high glass and down. Jalen McCray back in the lineup tonight and playing his 11th game for the Chippewas. This is freshman season. He got it across the way, and Martin was able to chip it back out, but it's only a momentary bit of rest for CMU as now Kuhn had the puck get caught up in his equipment across the way. 8:58 gone first period. Chippewas will have a face-off. Let's see where they put it. They'll put it down in the Northwood end, so an offensive zone draw here for CMU.
Yeah, it was a puck that got tied up in Nick Kuhn's equipment. He actually ran into Jace Johnson right across the blue line, and since it was in that vicinity, I assume that's where they're going to drop it.
Indeed, last play face-off. It stays in the zone from which it came. Zwick across the way. It's worked to the near side and out by Northwood. McCray in a race for it with Zick back in the far corner, and icing will be the call here against Northwood. So 2 offensive zone faceoffs here for CMU. Maybe a little bit of chance to earn some momentum and kind of get something going here.
No doubt. Central Michigan hasn't had a lot of offensive zone time other than just killing off that power play, and now just this most recent faceoff, as well as one from a play ago.
Face off the left of Matthew. In net to our left. He has been a brick wall in net, as we've mentioned, for Northwood here throughout this season. Only 1 loss. That came against Calvin in 5-3. He still made 36 saves in that loss. Up the right wing, here's Cooper Harfoot. He'll dump it in. McCray back there to play it out of Riverview Cabrini. Johnson pulls it free on the near side. Teammate with McCray back in high school. McCray will hold it in his right circle after a turnover, launch it off the boards, and back out to center. Quickly in here's Signa. Across that line, working in right wing side. Around the outside of the net, centered it out in front. Gleisner made the save, stretched out the left pad, and he ends up in his own net, gets up, and the puck stayed out. Now Johnson loses an edge with Sigmund right on his heel. Sigmund will take control of the puck, drop it off for McCarthy. Through center, across the way, just offside. Stemke couldn't keep McCarthy in behind him. 9:51 to go, first period.
Isaac Gleisner had to make a great save off of a rebound that was point-blank range right in his crease. A good confidence save for Isaac Gleisner. Has a first goal go by him early, but has since played really well throughout the second half of this first period.
And again, that goal that he let up was 9 seconds into the first power play of the game for Northwood. And give Bryce Garber some credit. He's got a hefty shot, and he put it bar down past Gleisner. Now look out. Here's White stepping in, dropped it back in the slot. Kroll had it caught up in his skates. Here's a shot. Gleisner made the save, and it's in. Kroll let it go from his knees in the right wing circle. Gleisner got to stick to it, but instead of directing it to the corner, ramped up off the blade and past him. It's 2-0 Northwood, 9:22 to go in the first period.
Looks like it was Garber that might have tipped it home again. He was first through the line, so we'll see who that goal gives credit to. But if that is in fact Garber, that's his second of the contest already. Scratch from yesterday's game and making his presence known against Central Michigan. And again, he's just been such a big thorn in the Chippewas' side.
It didn't look like the top line out there for Northwood. I think it was Thomas Kroll who got that in 6 and 9. So Kroll indeed does get it. The assist from White. Kroll getting goal number 2 on the year. His only previous goal came back on October 5th against Western Michigan, and now he's got his 4th point as a Timberwolf against Central Michigan. And 3 assists coming into today, and that's his 4th in just 3 games. Now here's Soselski right back in for the Timberwolves. Over the line right wing, pulls up the hash marks, backs it down behind the net. Gilgren pulling it free. Wheel off the wall in the left circle. Will clear it out to Siraki. He's got speed across that line left side. Lets a wrist shot go just a bit outside. Of course, Bob Uecker passing away, the legendary Milwaukee Brewers broadcaster. Not the Milwaukee Braves. He's too young for that.
No doubt.
But a big loss in the broadcasting community. The voice of Harry Doyle in the Major League movie series. Penalty coming up here on Northwood as Bowerson got taken down across the way. Gleisner to the bench. Chippewas still have possession. Here's Gibbs. Right circle, a shot. Pardon me, that was Grolo, a shot. He fed on that, and it fell right into the hands of Colin Marsh. Chippewas get their first power play of the game, and good news for them, they're a lot better on the power play on the road than they are at home.
No doubt, Reagan. And again, another chance for Central Michigan to try and bring themselves back within this game. It's a 2-0 deficit for them early, but their first power play, it has struggled, but better on the road. So they have a lot more time and space to cycle the puck on this bigger sheet of ice. So we'll see what happens here as Central Michigan wins that opening faceoff.
12:21, the time of the penalty. Nye's off for a hook. Chippewas on the power play. 0 for 3 on the weekend. Shot from Grolo goes wide and will ricochet all the way back to the neutral zone and back into the Central Michigan end. Chippewas are 18% on the campaign in total, 25% on the road. Of course, only 11% at home, which they've struggled a lot. They're only 2 for the last 32. Now Garber across the line, centered it across to Orvik in the left circle, spun it around in front. Oh boy, a great opportunity there for Northwood shorthanded. Lucky for the Chippewas. Northwood put it wide. Now here's Campbell. Ducking his way through the neutral zone, pulls up just outside the line, will fire it around the boards. Matthew behind his own net to play it, 1:14 to go on the power play. Now look out, Garber, he's got a chance down the left side. Puck was too hard for him, and he'll just try to play it back to the neutral zone, cut off by Grolo at center. Siraki across the line. Here's Morgan, right wing circle, a shot, save Matthew, rebound popped out, back into the slot, it hopped up in the air, and it's taken away here by Sigmund. Across the line for Garber. Nifty toe drag to the slot. Gets past the defense. Works in. Shot right pad save. There by Gleisner. Had to stick out that right pad. Garber didn't get a ton on that shot, but still Gleisner had to be up to the task. Chippewas in the offensive end once again. Hop put it down low. Bishop got tangled up with McCarthy. Northwood takes it and dumps it back down the ice. 6:04 to go, first period, 23 seconds left. On the penalty. Out this puck goes into the rafters here at the Midland Civic Arena, which is a pretty tough feat to accomplish.
It is a very tough feat to accomplish. High ceilings and very high rafters. So that puck had some major hang time to it.
Over the last 4 years, Central Michigan, this is only their third game at this venue. They've played they've played 4 games here at the Midland Civic Arena, but only now 3 on the Olympic sheet here. The division first round against Adrian in the 21-22 campaign, and then the last 2 years against the Northwood Timberwolves. So roll down the ice, Chippewas, as Nyes hops out of the box. Are 0 for 1 on the power play. Gilgren mixing it up at center there with Colin March. Gilgren goes off for a change. Nothing comes further of that exchange. Now big hit in the far corner. Bishop stepped away, got it right circle. Johnson steps in, shot. Oh, he put that one just off the outside of the net. A big opportunity there for Johnson. Nothing going. Now Nyes across the line. Broken up by Grimes. Saselski pulled it free. Johnson, though, stole it away. Across that line, right wing, ducking down around the outside of the circle. He's pushed behind the net by March. Nyes on the turnover. Backhanded it out through center. At the neutral zone face-off circle. Cut off by the Chippewas. Nyes, though, intercepts that pass and sends it into the netting. And we'll have a face-off at center ice. Under 5 to play, first period. Chippewas down 2-0. Off of goals from Garber and Kroll.
It's a quick 2-0 deficit, Reagan, but I feel that Central Michigan has started to even out the seesaw just a little bit in terms of offensive possession time. They're getting into the passing lanes and shooting lanes of Northwood a lot more often here in the latter half of this first period.
And again, this isn't the same Northwood team we saw last night, Michael. Bryce Garber was scratched. He's got 37 points, now 38 on the campaign with that goal to get things started here for the Timberwolves. And then you add back into the mix Donald Gooley. And then, of course, the man in between the pipes, Mason Matthew. It's a lot different Northwood team than we saw a night ago. Give them credit. That's why they're up 2-0 right now. Now French hammered into the boards there by Hutton. That's not going to draw a penalty. Now Harfoot steps free. And from the bottom of the right circle, lets a shot go. Gleisner makes the save. 4:17 to go, period 1.
Good calm save there from Isaac Gleisner. And both teams turning up the physicality rather quickly here in this one. Physical first period. A lot of time to be able to change things up, mix things up here in the upcoming periods here.
Northwood, another face-off win. The shot by Sigmund was knocked away, and now Campbell gets tripped up at center by Temple, who tried to apply the hip check, and that'll break up the Chippewa rush. 4 minutes to go, first period. Northwood up 2-0. That nice rink-wide feed. Temple loses an edge, regains his feet, right circle, a feed out in front. Big save by Gleisner, sticking out the right pad, denying the man in front. Looked like it was Gooley standing right on the doorstep. Now Grollo picks off a pass at center. Across the line, gets sided with Porzonda. Campbell out in front. Grollo too far for him. He reached out and will go into the corner to clear up to the point here for for McCray. And now look out, a breakaway for Gooley. He steps in, works in. Big save there by Gleisner. Off the blocker. Gooley was in from center, and Gleisner said no.
Not only did he say no, Reagan, he said no twice. Donald Gooley on the doorstep with a centering feed, and now Gooley looking to take revenge on the breakaway, but a calm and a confident save from Isaac Gleisner.
Gooley was one of those guys we mentioned for Northwood out of the lineup last night, out of Lance Cruz Unified in the MHSAA, looking for his second career goal against Central Michigan. Leads the team in assists with 21. Second on the team in points with 31. Also looking for point number 50 of his ACHA career. There's a shot by Garber off the face-off from a sharp angle. McCarthy now behind the net, working There with Kamara. Big hit by Gilgren behind the net. This will roll in on Gleisner on the shot by Summit from the left point. And he'll smother it for a stoppage of play with 3:08 to go first period.
That last shot didn't have much on it, but it took an odd carom off of Isaac Gleisner. And that pressure from Northwood again, just right there with them, and that's why he had to cover it up.
Face off to the right of Gleisner. Northwood again wins it. Bouncing puck will just trickle wide. White into the near corner. In the zone to our right, McCarthy. Back up top, shot deflected out in front. Rebound loose. White couldn't get it. McCarthy steps free. Slid it out in front. Nobody there. Too far for Kroll. Now Johnson. Worked over by McCarthy at the point. Chippewas get it back, though. Johnson up the left wing with a head of steam. Across that line, steps into the circle, tries to deke to the front. Matthew made the save. It's loose behind him, and somehow it couldn't be put home. It's still loose, bottom of the left circle. Boy, Isaac Hopp had a great opportunity with a gaping cage. Couldn't put it home. Now White back across the line for the Timberwolves. Over the line, right pad save. Gleisner rebound, just put wide again. Boy, back and forth action here in the last couple of minutes. Great opportunity for the Chippewas at one end, and Northwood comes back the other way. Now they've still got possession. Pass broken up by Hopp. It'll come back up to the right wing points. Siselski off the boards, hammered into the zone here by March. It'll rattle around behind Gleisner. Across the way, Kamara tries to chip it up the wall. Can't do it. He'll get the puck back and chop it around to the near side. Siraki centering feed, picked off the line. Working. Here is Ayuyu. Right wing side. Old button hook, pull up to the point, dropped it down low. There, here's Siselski, centering feed too far. Morgan tried to break it up, chopped in from the point, worked down behind for Nyes. He overskated it. Hutton got to the near side, Siraki. Chippewas almost unable to get it out, though, as it was knocked down by Siselski. Hopp, though, gets it the neutral zone and fires it back in. 90 seconds to go, first period. It's been all Northwood here. First 20 minutes. The Chippewas, don't get us wrong, they've had their chances.
They certainly have their chances, and I think that's another thing you can take into the locker room going into the first intermission here just in about 66 seconds time and counting. You have your chances. You can still make your chances even against a very stout Northwood team and a very stout netminder in Mason Matthews.
Now across the line to Dorovic, chopped away from him. Gooley steps in right point, working to the slot, fires a shot, save Gleisner, rebound. Taken away here by Bowerson. He'll try to pitchfork it out of the zone with 47 seconds to go. Todorovic, pass just too far for him. He'll work into the zone with Grimes right on his tail. He worked it free. Gooley spun it out in front. Look out, Todorovic gets the rebound. Shot, big save there by Gleisner. Todorovic got taken down by Armentrout in the slot. He's hunched over as he goes to the bench. Work out an intercept here by Armentrout. He's working in for the neutral zone 1-on-3. He'll duck it down behind the net of Matthew. Out to the neutral zone, Gooley. Up for the Timberwolves. Across the line, poked ahead by Garber. Worked in a shot. He tried to poke it on ahead. Gleisner, though, was able to beat him to it and poke check it away. Now Armentrout up with speed. Centered it out in front. Taken away by Kroll. Gooley will play it back in the defensive end. Stretch pass down the ice. It'll be tipped in, icing the gated, and the first period comes to a close. An eventful one, certainly. Northwood got a power play goal. 11 seconds past a minute in. Garber on the power play from McCarthy, and then Kroll on a wild scramble in front. Made it 2-0 at 10:38, but the Chippewas back down the hatches after that. Gleisner made a couple of saves, and they only come out of the first period down by 2.
And that gives them a lot of confidence going into the locker room. They may be down 2-0, but they're still keeping themselves grounded for the most part. They've got to be able to clean up some of their miscommunications when the puck is being passed out to the ice and just make good, clean, confident passes and continue your defense how you're playing. You're getting your bodies in front and you're putting your sticks down in the passing and shooting lanes. So lots of good stuff to take away from the first period. Just got to be able to put some chances together in the second and third.
Indeed, and we'll see how they do that as we go on. 20 minutes in the books, 40 remain here on the CMU Club Hockey Radio Network. We'll step aside. First intermission report coming up next here from Midland Civic Arena. Back here inside Midland Civic Arena for intermission number 1. Central Michigan down 2-0 to the Northwood Timberwolves, but got a lot of good things to take out of that first period.
It really was, Reagan. Isaac Leisner making a couple confident saves, and Central Michigan getting good opportunities. There was a couple chances that might have been close to a breakaway, but again, Northwood, a team with so much speed. Chris Armentrout nearly had himself a breakaway, and Owen Campbell almost had one if he didn't get tripped up at center ice. But Central Michigan was able to create a little bit of chances, and Jace Johnson highlighting the bit of that with a great opportunity that was just snapped wide of Mason Matthews. So the chances are there. It's just all about being able to clean up some of the mistakes and putting those chances more on net to test Mason Matthew.
Yeah, and against a netminder as good as Matthew is, it's going to be, you got to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that you do get. And if you don't, simply put, you're not going to be able to win against this Northwood team. And again, the 2 goals coming in that first period, an early one on the power play from Bryce Garber, his team leading 24th of the campaign for his 38th point. That the assist on that goes to McCarthy. And that was just a clean face-off win. Garber got it from the left point, hammered it off the goalpost and in. Not much Gleisner can do about that. I don't think he saw it until it was by him.
I don't think so. That is how much of a beautiful shot that Bryce Garber has, and it had some heat on it. And that's the tough thing about a goaltender. When you face just a shot that is so quick and so fast like that, if you blink, you're going to miss it. And that's unfortunately what happened to Isaac Gleisner. Now, I didn't know if he blinked or not, but it was a very quick shot nonetheless.
Indeed. Thomas Grohl would follow that up about 9 minutes later at 10:38. He was on his knees in the right wing circle after a scramble out in front. He was able to get lumber on it, and Gleisner went to direct it into the corner with his goal pedal and ended up ramping off of the stick and passed him short side. So a bit of an unfortunate goal to give up if you're Isaac Gleisner, but still, again, you got to be able to make those saves.
Absolutely, Reagan. That's going to be the name of the game. If you want to try and stay in this game, you're going to have to make some clean saves and very confident saves at that. Isaac Gleisner, he's played a long career here in the ACHA, and we know he can make those confident saves going forward. And I'm sure within the locker room, he's getting that talk up that he needs, and the team's getting the talk up that they need going into the second. There's a lot of time left to do that.
You can only muster 4 shots on goal. Chippewas outshot 19-4 in that opening period. Lots of work to do. They find themselves in a 2-goal hole here at the end of one. We'll step aside for about 30 seconds. Come back. Michael Rosencrantz has a look at the out-of-town scoreboard for you here on CCHN.
Back here inside Midland Civic Arena, Northwood leads Central Michigan 2-0 here at the tail end of the first intermission. Zamboni finishing up its laps around the ice. Now it's time to take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard here in the first intermission. The men's 2 team was in action earlier today. They had a 10-0 shutout loss to Ohio last night in Athens, Ohio. Don't have a score for you as far as their game at noon today went, but we'll provide that for you should we get it momentarily. The women's Division II team, they're sitting at 10-4-0-1 this season. They have the Traverse City Showcase this weekend. Unsure if they are going up to Traverse City, and I just got word that they are not going up to Traverse City. So we'll take a look at their weekend matchups coming up. Both at Bowling Green. First game coming next Saturday, January 24th at 7 p.m. And on Sunday, they'll turn right back around. How about this for an early wake-up, Reagan? 9 a.m. on the sheet for Sunday the 25th.
Oof. I mean, back last weekend in the North Shore Classic, Grand Canyon played the late game, 8 o'clock on Saturday. They had to get up the next morning at a 9 a.m. puck drop. For an outdoor game, okay, I might get up at 8. I might be at the rink at 6 o'clock for an 8:30 game if it's outside. I don't know how these guys do it.
No doubt. That's a quick turnaround. Absolutely. So those are your upcoming matchups for both hockey teams. And now we turn to our attention in other areas of Chippewa athletics. Track and field, the Jack Skog Open, CMU winners of 8 different events, including triple sweeps in 3 different events. So a very successful outing for the track and field team. Wrestling and gymnastics hosted NIU and Bowling Green respectively at the Rumble and Tumble event at McGurk Arena. Wrestling was 29-11 winners over the NIU Huskies. They host Cleveland State Sunday at 2 p.m. in the barn on Broomfield. And as for gymnastics, they were victors as well, 193.225 to 189.975 over the Bowling Green State Falcons, and they will travel to Bowling Green on January 26th for their meet at 2 p.m. as well. Men's basketball had a tip with Northern Illinois as well, in which they were 7-win total this past season with 7 on the year now. The women's team certainly trending up in the right direction. Women's basketball will host Kent State on January 22nd. Tip-off at the barn on Broomfield slated for 11 o'clock a.m. And finally, taking a look at the ACHA Top 10. Number 1, it is Hope at 22-0-1 on the season. Number 2, Air Force 12-0-0-1, followed by number 3, Oakland 17-2-1-1 on the season. Lawrence Tech sits at number 4, 18-0-1-1. Number 5, Notre Dame 11-1-0 on the campaign. Number 6, Calvin 9-4-0-3. Number 7, GVSU 11-3-0-1. Number 8, Michigan State sits at 11-6-1-1. Number 9, Michigan sits at 11-3-0-0. And number 10 is Colorado Mines sitting at 8-6-0-1. That's a look at the ACHA Top 10. And both teams are already back out on the ice. So why not send it back to you to Reagan Cleves for the second period play-by-play.
Thank you, Michael. And puck is dropped at center once again. We are underway. Just a little bit of a side note here as we get started in the second period. Michael just went through the ACHA Top 10. How many of those teams are in the MCHC East?
There were...
Not even the MCHC, just the MCHC in general.
Quite a bit of teams in the MCHC. That just shows the dominance of this league in the top 10.
Exactly. You've got Hope, Oakland, Lawrence Tech, Calvin, Grand Valley, Michigan, Michigan State. That's 7 teams in the top 10, and which, especially as we've gone on here in the year, you've kind of seen those California teams kind of filter out of the top 25, top 16. Here's an icing against Central Michigan here 24 seconds into the period. We had a face-off just in the Central Michigan end a couple moments ago, but we got carried away talking about the ACHA's top 10.
There was UC Irvine, though, in the previous rankings, as I remember broadcasting the previous game with you. So UC Irvine slid out of the top 10 rankings. Colorado Mines right now at the number 10 spot. Kind of an interesting team where Colorado Mines is sitting right now.
Yeah, indeed. And it's always good to see those Western teams and those non-MCHC teams get into the national tournament, because you don't often see them, especially since the MCHC has been so dominant over the last decade plus, now approaching 2 decades at this point. It's always fun to see those different teams getting into the national tournament, although in the end, your money's best placed on an MCHC team winning the national tournament. Here's a shot from the right point by Colin March. Gleisner again redirects this up out of play, but as we've been chatting up here in the booth, it's been all Northwood here to start the second period.
It has, Reagan. Immediately to start the second period, another icing by Central Michigan resulted in a quick face-off in the offensive zone for Northwood, and here they go right to the left of Gleisner again. Central Michigan has got to try and get the puck out of the zone and generate some chances for themselves.
They can't do it off the face-off. McCarthy working down the right wing side, a shot. Snazzy glove save there by Gleisner, flashing the leather. Those all-black pads that look oh so good with those all-black uniforms. And with that win last weekend against Loyola Chicago outside in those blacks, they improved to 3-0 in those black uniforms.
Certainly a good mantra going with those black uniforms that just look oh so sweet every time I look at them.
Indeed. Here's another icing against Central Michigan. They haven't been able to get anything going here in the opening minute and 11 of this second period.
And that's a thing, Reagan. Central Michigan a little bit desperate right now to get the puck out of their zone. They're able to do so, but it just goes for icing, which reinserts Northwood right back into the offensive zone. Central Michigan is, well, yes, you do want to get the puck out of the zone. They got to try and keep the possession and not turn it right back down the opposite end of the ice for Northwood.
Face-off won again by the Timberwolves. Look out, a centering feed. Nice work, San, and he just lifted that over the crossbar. Great opportunity there. Kind of split the defense and worked in about 5 feet out in front of Gleister, and he's able to deflect it up and out of play, and it being the divisional round, Gleister signaled field goal.
And a very good ode to the divisional round at that. Well, what a job by Luke Nyes being able to work in, use his speed, and Gleisner denying him right on the doorstep. Gleisner again with another very confident save.
Yeah, he's been fairly confident throughout this year, and it's been a bounce-back year for him. A 3.82 goals against average and a .915 save percentage. Just to give you a little bit of a kind of context on that, he came into this season with only 3 wins to his name, and as of right now, his career goals against average is .546. That shows you how tough his first 3 years in the collegiate ranks have been. Played with Finlandia and then Eastern Michigan. EMU ended up folding last year as Gleisner will snag this off the end boards and hold on. 2 minutes in, but I mean, Gleisner is a really good story of kind of a journeyman in the ACHA, which you don't see a ton of, but I mean, unfortunately for him, he's been around clubs that have folded the last couple of seasons, but he has gotten right into the Central Michigan team and become a Chippewa almost immediately.
Absolutely, and this Chippewa team really embraced Isaac Gleisner as he entered in through those doors to the Chippewa program. And while the record doesn't show it, he's had some really stellar performances, and having one here so far at Northwood, albeit he let up 2 goals, but he's making some really strong and confident saves.
If we take a look at how Gleisner's starts this season, he's been up against some really tough competition. He had a start earlier on this year against Grand Valley State, came in relief in the first game, faced 57 shots in the second. He faced 48 against Michigan State, a big hit there on Isaac Hopp in the far corner, and it's going to be a penalty coming up here on Northwood. Chippewas will fling it out of the zone. Kuhn couldn't find it. Touched up by Ciceretto, and Zwick is going to head to the penalty box. So after a tough start to this second period, Michael, Central Michigan gets an opportunity here on the power play, their second of the game.
That was just a late hit there on Isaac Hopp, given by Ryan Zwick. So he goes off to the box. Central Michigan has another chance on the power play and their first offensive zone face-off this second period.
So Zwick to the box. Morgan in for the draw, wins it, and the Chippewas go to work on the power play. Kroll on the forecheck. Grollo, right wing circle, steps in, shot save. Matthew, rebound off the side of the net. Big opportunity there. Owen Campbell couldn't corral it, though, and he just put it wide. Good look for CMU on the power play. Now the challenge is reestablishing that zone presence, which they've struggled on throughout the year. And as we mentioned in the pregame show, Chippewas come into the weekend come into today as this one is skied down the ice by Northwood. Chippewas are only 2 for their last 31, 6.45% on the power play. And on the road, it's even worse, 1 for 20, 5%. Trying to change that here. Martin behind the net, wandering his way to the far side. Back up to the point, slides it across, right circle, Morgan. Simpson shot deflected by Summit wide. Rebound was knocked down in front, and it'll be taken here by the Timberwolves and moved out. Martin able to get it away from pressure. Up on right wing, Grollo. Across the center red line, wired around the boards. Across the way, Temple. Beat his man to it. Campbell, great job to keep it in. Put it right back to Temple, who will take it and lift it down the ice. Just over 4 minutes gone, second period, 30 seconds to go on the minor penalty to Zwick. Here's Camara. Across the line. Got stripped of the puck, though, and it'll be cleared down the ice by Nathan Ayew. Again, I talked about it right at the top of this power play, Michael. A good start. You get off the face-off win, but you can't really establish the zone once again. Now Johnson trying to split the defense. Instead of looking for a pass, he ended up getting tied up. Chippewas maintained control, though. Bishop, left circle, tried to center it out in front. Big block there by Temple on the pass. Now Bishop takes a hard spill into the boards. No penalty coming. A stretch pass cut off by Camara. And now Kroll is going to chase after it as he replaces Wick off the penalty box. 4:50 gone, second period. Puck comes up to the point. Temple keeps it in, fires it off the boards. Camara off the end boards. Gets it to the near side for Bishop. He fires it around to the far side. Kept in right, point by Sigmund. Right behind the net. A centering feed knocked down. Chippewas wired up to the point. Kept in there by Temple left side. Here's shot blocked by Bishop. Gilgren across the way on the rebound. He and White go into the corner. Battle for it there ensues. Pulled free. They center it out in front. Deflected. Back up to the point off the centering feed. DeLauro put it down low. Just past him. Icing is going to be waved off here by the linesman. Chippewas able to get some changes, but it's the period of the long change. They got to be careful they don't get caught out here. Julian Johnson, the lone man, in on the forecheck. Here's March up the wing. Down to the left circle, a shot out in front. And what do we have here? Chippewas had too many men.
Yeah, it looked like Maddox Grimes was trying to get his way off the ice rather quickly. And a quick stoppage in play. And that's going to result in a Northwood power play here. So as quick as Central Michigan's power play ended, Northwood's going to go right back on the power play.
Coming at 5:49. It's a bench minor for too many. There's a shot from the left circle there. Blocked in front. Garber let that one go. McCarthy up at the point. Will walk to the deep slot. Slides it across right circle for Gooley. Back up top McCarthy. Left circle Garber. Whole circle back to the point. Walk the line, hold it, shot blocked by Siraki. Rebound was just sent wide. Looked like Todorovic might have gotten a piece of it out in front. Now across the way, Gooley dancing his way behind the net, looking for an outlet pass. Back up top for Garber, left point. Down the wall to Gooley, back to Garber. Slides it back across McCarthy. He's got space in the circle, a shot, he scores! Zach McCarthy. A laser beam from the right wing circle, 3-0, another power play tally for Northwood.
Northwood 2 for 3 on the power play. Zach McCarthy finds a way to get open at the right circle. That puck going to the left circle, it draws the defense of Central Michigan over. That leaves Zach McCarthy wide open, and he just puts a laser of a shot past Isaac Gleisner, flips the water bottle off. He now has 2 goals on the weekend, Reagan, one of them on the power play for his 4th of the year. And it's 3-0 Timberwolves.
Garber, who already got his 75th career ACHA point earlier with the goal in that first period. If he gets an assist on that, that's point number 76 in his career. He has had, and that's only in 2 seasons, mind you. With 1 season with Trine and another one here with Northwood. After a couple of seasons off in the NA3HL. And back in the lineup for the first time here in this semester. And indeed, Garber does get that assist. Now Hutton working into the zone for CMU right wing, circumnavigating the zone to the far side. Reverses field with the puck, behind the net taken by Sigmund. He'll rattle it around the boards and send it down the ice, but Nyes with the speed is going to be Grimes in the pocket for Gleisner to come out and play it. That'll negate the icing. 12:36 to go, second period. Chippewas down by 3 off of 2 power play goals. Now Hutton comes flying in with a check there on Siselski. And Northwood maintains control. Left point, Temple walking down the wall, pulls up at the hash mark. Back up top right circle, a shot. Score! Might have taken a deflection in front. Either way, it beats Gleisner Blocker's side. 12:16 to go in the second period. 4-0 Northwood.
That was sort of reminiscent of what just happened on the power play, Reagan. Another puck that goes into the left circle, draws the defense over. And Northwood open again in the right circle, and this shot just gets past Isaac Gleister, had some bodies in front of him, and credit to Northwood getting traffic in front of the net. And a timeout's going to be called here, looks like, by Central Michigan to take a breather and talk things over.
And we'll take one as well. 4-0 Northwood leads at the 7:44 mark here in the second period. You're listening to CMU D3 Club Hockey on the CCHN Radio Network. Welcome back, Radio Rinkside here in Midland Civic Arena. Chippewas down 4-0 off the most recent goal by Northwood, coming at 7:44. That causes CMU to take that timeout. James Sigmund, the freshman out of De La Salle High School, and Ray, Michigan, the native thereof, extends this lead to 4 for Northwood. Appreciate all you listening to us here on YouTube. Happy to have you with us here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon and entertaining us in the comments section over the breaks. Now here's a shot by Grollo. Deflected wide, and now March trying to start the breakout for Northwood. Gets it up left side, Garber. He's got speed. Working over the line. He's got man with him. Right circle a shot. Save Gleisner. And he'll smother the rebound between his pads. With 11:43 to go in the second period.
That just speaks of how good Bryce Garber is. He's got so much speed, but zigging and zagging just with the stick handling just beautifully. And with a backhanded shot, Gleister makes the save, but what an individual effort from Bryce Garber.
And there's a reason he's already got 76 points in the ACHA in just 45 games. How about that pace, Michael? He took 2 years off, and you could say he improved during his time in the NA3. And he posted 37 points in his freshman year at Trine. Now look out. Stemke in with a shot. Oh, he snapped that one wide. Chippewas get the rebound. Stemke, a good opportunity. As we mentioned, the native of Mount Pleasant. Playing against the college, the college team he'd see playing right before his high school team, the Mid-Michigan Raptors. He led the team last season in points with 41, 29 goals, and 12 assists in his senior campaign as the captain of the Raptors. Now here's McCarthy working up the right wing. And the third goal of the game lets a shot go from the right side. Save Gleisner, rebound. Put right back into the goal mouth. Swept away, and here's Morgan up the right wing. Chopped it on ahead. Look out, Siraki's got to turn on the Jets. He's got the puck with Summit pressuring. A shot from a sharp angle save there by Matthew. Now Harfoot up the left wing. He'll cut it with a shot. Blocked in front there by Grimes, and it's a 2-on-1 battle in the corner with Johnson. Pulled free. Here's French. Far corner. Trying to get it back up to the point. Hit a body. Armentrout instead ahead. Miller stepped around and checked, though he stripped the puck pretty deftly there by Sigmund. Now we got a penalty coming up on the Chippewas, and Harfoot takes Armentrout down to the neutral zone. But either way, Chippewa is still going to go to the box. Slashing penalty on Johnson halfway through the second.
This is the tough part for Central Michigan, Reagan. When they find themselves down in a really big hole, sometimes the discipline falls a little bit, and they find themselves going to the box a little more often, and that's unfortunately what's happening here for the Central Michigan team. It'll be another Northwood power play.
9:52, the time of the Johnson slashing penalty. That's Julian Johnson. Northwood 2 for 3 on the power play. They're back to work. Right wing side, Summit. Centered it out in front. Nye steps in right circle. Oh, blister that one wide. Comes back up to the point. Summit will have to retreat to the neutral zone. That'll give the defenders a momentary bit of respite, but Northwood's going to come charging right back in. Nifty touch pass. Here's Nyes across the line. Left circle with Saselski. He'll pull up, slide it across right circle to the point for Summit. He backs up to the line, dropped it down for Nyes once again. Number 71 in white will button hook in the corner. Backed it out in front. It was knocked away though. Northwood still has control. AUU over the line, but just offside. Couldn't keep it in at the point. 9:25 to go in the second period. Chippewas will have a face-off outside their own zone.
Fortunate break there for Central Michigan, too. Just couldn't be kept in by a UU. Made a nifty move to try and keep it in, but just across the blue line, linesman goes up with the whistle. It's offsides, and Central Michigan gets a momentary breather from outside the zone, but Northwood wins the faceoff and they're right back in.
That breather won't last very long. Hutton, Porzondik, Grolo out there for CMU along with Grimes. Here's in the left circle. Garber works in shot. Save, rebound, just put wide. Again, Porzondik able to clear this up to the point, kept in by Gooley. He'll slam it off the boards down behind the net. Northwood pressuring heavily here with 50 seconds to go on the power play. Puck's caught behind the net. Stemke out there battling Hutton in the near corner. Chippewas get it up and out. Unfortunately, by out, it's out of play.
This is where Northwood's starting to turn on the Jets a lot more, Reagan. They're ahead by 4. They're turning on the Jets here for Central Michigan. It seems like they're just bringing the energy out of Central Michigan more and more as they keep reinserting themselves into the offensive zone. Central Michigan looking a little fatigued out there.
Fans, don't forget that the CMU Club Hockey Network is your one-stop shop for exclusive highlights, interviews, and full game broadcasts for all CMU Club Hockey teams. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and turn on notifications so as never to miss a moment of Chippewa hockey. Northwood right back in on the power play. 33 seconds to go. Back up to the point for Nyes. Across the way, drops it off to Saselski. He'll work it down behind the net. Centering feed broken up. Nyes couldn't get to it. Hop pokes it to the far corner. Martin and Nyes come together in the far half boards. They work it up to the point slowly. Comes free Saselski. Working in the circle. Centered it out in front. Knocked away. And CMU gets it down the ice. That should kill off the majority of the rest of this power play, Michael. But still, another suffocating performance by Northwood on the man advantage.
Oh, no doubt, Reagan. It's been all Northwood, even on the man advantage, even strength, as now you return to 5-on-5. Central Michigan being able to read that centering feed well to kill off the power play, but Central Michigan has barely had any offensive zone time, maybe just on power plays, but that's really it.
And they had 4 shots in that first period, and it hasn't gotten much better here in period 2. Northwood's been all over the Chippewas. Stemke caused a turnover right. Point works in. Glove save by Gleisner on a nifty shot there from Stemke. Good job to create the turnover at the point, and then he was all alone.
That's a credit again to how good this Northwood team is. They have so many young guns out there, but they've just proved themselves on all throughout this season as they make a big case for themselves coming close to the playoff time.
Now look out. White caused a turnover, works in on Gleisner, and he scores. Connor White intercepted the pass at the top of the left circle, stepped right on in, and snapped it past the glove of the Chippewa netminder. It's 5-0, and a new netminder for the Chippewas coming in.
Lauren Jones coming in relief of Isaac Gleisner. What a beautiful shot that was by White. He causes that turnover, as you mentioned, Reagan, steps right back in around a defender and picks the top right corner past the glove of Isaac Gleisner, and it is all Northwood at goal coming at the 12:32 mark of the second period. 5-0 Timberwolves.
22-32 minutes for Gleisner here in this one, and Jones makes the first save coming in off the bench. Goes up and out of play. A nifty save there on Temple. So White, the unassisted tally. Goal number 5 on the campaign. Let's take a closer look at Jones. He comes in. This is now his 6th appearance. 3-1 on the campaign. A .254 goals against average and a .913 save percentage. coming into today and, for that matter, the weekend, the Chippewas had all 4 netminders posting a above 900 save percentage, which, for that matter, shows you how good their goaltending's been, and it's more of a note to how much defensive support, or rather lack thereof, they've had.
No doubt, Reagan. It's always great to see goaltenders for any team doing well when they have above a 900 save percentage, but you hit the nail right on the head. It's all about having the defensive help out there in relief of your netminders.
Well, he's got some defensive help out in front of him. Big save, but it goes through on the second attempt. Jones made the initial shot. Save on the shot from the left wing side. Popped out right circle, and it was put home there by Aiden French. It's 6-0 Northwood.
Yeah, just another big scramble out in front of Lauren Jones. Much like the second goal of this game, Reagan, it's just a massive scramble out in front. Jones makes the initial save, but too much chaos in front of the net, and that gets poked in there by Aiden French. And it is 6-0 Timberwolves.
This is getting out of hand for Central Michigan fans. And again, not necessarily unexpected coming in as an unranked D3 team against a Division I opponent, but if you took last night at face value, you'd think they'd have at least a fighting chance, but then you remember that Garber's back in the lineup, Todorovic is on that line with Gooley, who's back in the lineup again, and then they're facing one of the best netminders in Division I in Mason Matthew. Now Garber, speaking of him, steps in, fed it back across. Oh, big save by Jones. Todorovic denied on the return feed. He's got it back, snaps it wide from the right wing side, comes back up top. March kept it in. Grimes forced a turnover. Here's Campbell, cutting out of the neutral zone, right wing side for Grollo. Oh, fire it in. Go after it. There's a puck. Side. Is that Grollo or is that Isaac Gibbs wearing Ryan Grollo's jersey?
That's a really good question. He looks to be a little taller than Ryan Grollo, so I wonder if that's Gibby over there.
This is the problem with our head coach not giving us lineups before the game. Here's a shot by Johnson. That snapped just wide. Because my mind's going, he's out there with Campbell and Porzondik. That can't be Ryan Grollo. This will be deflected up and out of play. Siselski and Johnson batting at it. But it didn't seem right.
No, it didn't seem right, Reagan. You're absolutely right. So who knows? Maybe head coach Brennan Martin, wonder if he have to bring you the score sheet up here for you just to see the starting lineups in terms of names and numbers.
Of course, now I'm kicking myself for not recognizing that was Grollo until now. But nonetheless, Chippewas momentarily had the puck in the offensive end, but they've got to chase it back here in their own end. McCray will feed it out through center. Now I'm double-checking every number. Knives had that poked ahead to him. He's into the Chippewa end, gets tangled up with a man. Back on his feet. Chippewas, though, have the piece of vulcanized rubber. Up the wing. Cut off at center by Siselski. Will angle in over the line. Left wing circle. Hold button hook. Send it out in front. Cut off far side. Taken by Ayuyu. Wandering across the way. Sends it down behind the net. Siselski. Right wing side, playing in just game number 2 as a Northwood Timberwolf. His shot from a sharp angle took a deflection off the outside of the net. Ayuyu pins up his man behind the boards. Johnson comes in high. That's Julian. 2-on-2 tie-up behind Jones. To our left. Penalty coming up here on Northwood. They'll touch it up. As McCray got hauled down behind the net. And it's a hold on number 23, Nathan Ayuyu.
Yeah, just got hauled down there by Ayuyu on the hold. So Central Michigan returns to the power play. Again, they go back to the offensive zone. And they've had their moments where they've cycled the puck pretty well. But credit to Northwood again for putting the pressure on them on this power play on the road. And it's been, as much as it's been a struggle for Central Michigan, they'll get another crack at it here.
Chippewas are 0 for 2 so far, 0 for 5 on the weekend. Face off to the left of Matthew, won by Central Michigan. Here's Isaac Gibbs. Across the way to Campbell, back up top for Martin, across the way to Gibbs. Campbell, back up top. Near side Gibbs, centering feed, knocked away by Summit. It bounces around in the right wing circle, controlled by Stemke. He'll try to get it out. Hit by Morgan. Gibbs will play it back to Martin. Martin to Gibbs. Almost lost it to Stemke. Gibbs following it across the way. Able to get it as far as the blue line for the Northwood Timberwolves, but it's quickly taken away by Zach McCarthy. He sends it down the ice. 80 seconds to go in the power play. Martin from behind his own end. Will turn on the Jets. Drop it back for Campbell. Campbell. Shifty moves through center. Knocked it down. Look out. He's got it poked free in the right wing circle, but cleared away by McCarthy yet again. And it's down the ice with 60 seconds to go in the minor penalty.
Really good move by Owen Campbell there, trying to get shifty with the stick and trying to dribble that puck almost. But Chippewas, again, on the power play, it's kind of been the story of their power play. Just once they get out of the offensive zone, they have trouble reestablishing that.
And it hasn't just been against these D1 teams. It's been a massive struggle all season. Part of why they're 1 for 20 in their last 20 coming in on the road. Isaac Gibbs kept it in right side, and seeing his helmet sticker, it is indeed number 19. He lets a shot go from the right wing point, gobbled up there by Matthew.
Chippewas get another crack at another offensive zone face-off. Mason Matthew not really tested too well tonight, although there's been some good opportunities for Central Michigan. One just hasn't found the back of the cage yet.
2:42 to go, second period. Chippewas have 27 seconds left in the power play. They lose the face-off, and it's rifled down the ice. That should kill off the majority of it, especially with how much trouble Central Michigan has had getting into the offensive zone. Sam Camara has it tied up with a Timberwolf in the defensive end who took a spill. Chippewas pull it free, and Jace Johnson turns on the Jets. So left side shot blocked in front. Rebound just kicked wide. He takes a hack at his man as they go into the corner. Power play over. Camara's got it back up at the point. His shot deflected to Porzingis. Make a shot, save. It's in space. Jake Bishop pots home the rebound. They break the shutout. Not a power play tally, but just a little bit after. 2:06 to go in the second. It's 6-1.
That's a good, confident goal that this Central Michigan team needed. A great shot from the high slot on Mason Matthew. The rebound just pokes loose just enough, and Jake Bishop, good place right on the doorstep to poke it past the blocker of Mason Matthew. It's a 5-goal deficit for Central Michigan. Feels good for them to get one on the board here.
Indeed, 17:54. The time of the goal. And for the Chippewas, they avoid the dreaded back-to-back shutouts. There's a save by Jones on a bid from the far side. Northwood still gets it back. Behind the net, they try the stuff attempt. It's loose in the left circle. A shot saved by Jones. Rebound comes behind the net. They battle for it there. So Camara gets the secondary assist along with Porzingis. And for Porzingis, it's good to see him back in the lineup over the last couple of games for CMU. They missed him dearly in the first semester. The veteran of now 110 games in the ACHA over the last 6 years. That's point number 121 for Porzo. That's his 11th point all-time against the Timberwolves. There's a shot from the right side off the goalpost and up and out of play. Big break there for Jones. But again, that's the type of goal that Central Michigan kind of needed in this game, Michael. A gritty net front goal. Matthew doesn't control the rebound, and it's potted home.
Exactly, Reagan. Those gritty goals, Central Michigan hasn't really had too much of those this season. But it feels good to be able to work hard against a really difficult Northwood opponent and pot home a rebound and say to yourself, we can still make these gritty, confident plays even when we're down like this.
It's a big goal for Jake Bishop, too. His first since the opening game against Ferris State back on September 13th. And that goal in the opener, and hadn't scored a goal since, despite playing in almost in every game up to this point. One of just a handful of Chippewas to play all 25 games, including Jace Johnson, Siraki, Connor Morgan, Lucas Hutton, Bishop. Sam Kamara, Armin Trout as well. 48.2 seconds to go, second period. Stick with us for the second intermission report. We'll recap the flurry of goals scored by Northwood and as well the Bishop second tally of the year. We'll also take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. This time, the pros. We'll talk about the Griffins' spirit, and most importantly, the Lions.
Absolutely.
And at their divisional round matchup coming up later on this week. Hopefully that bye helped them, especially with how injury-riddled they were toward the end of the season. Now Gooley stepping in, sledded across. Garber steps in, shot, and it goes up and out of play. Big time save there by Jones to come out and challenge that, and it goes up and out of play.
That is a really confident save by Lauren Jones. And again, Northwood, such a systematic team. Their offense has been clicking all so well. All these guys have such great chemistry with one another, and it shows.
It's part of what makes them one of the best teams in Division I. Only 2 losses again coming into this year. Granted, the lone caveat to that being the fact that they play in a new division, or rather, an old division, but with a couple of new players that got a feet out in front as the time expires, just put wide by Nyes, and that'll do it for period number 2. I'll get back to that point. The GLCHL, an old conference, has been around for quite some time in D1, but a majority of the conference's members last year left for the new GL6, the Great Lakes 6. And that includes Adrian's, your Calvin's, your Purdue Northwest, all teams that made the national tournament last year. So with the GLCHL being left with kind of the leftovers in that, you got Northwood, another new team from Division III, Saginaw Valley State, Toledo, Western Michigan, and Oakland. Northwood is the only team of those 5 to have a winning record this season. So that being the caveat, Northwood's still a pretty darn good team, and they have a 6-1 lead at the end of 2 periods.
Absolutely, Reagan. A tough period for Central Michigan. Going into the third period, again, what kind of things can you clean up and try and take in to next weekend coming up against your rival Western Michigan? It'll be another heated battle in terms of rivalry. And for Central Michigan going forward, again, it's a tough one to swallow today. But Lauren Jones coming in relief of Isaac Gleisner going forward. So good to see him getting a little bit of playing time today, but see what you can clean up for the third and move on to next weekend and learn from this one.
Indeed. We'll recap the second period when we come back. Chippewas down 6-1 here at the end of 40 minutes. Despite the 6-1 scoreline, not all things bad for Central Michigan in that second period of play. They get a goal on the board. Bishop with his second of the campaign as the Chippewas trail by 5 at the end of 40 minutes. Reagan Cleaves, Michael Rosencrantz here at Midland Civic Arena with you. Happy to have you along with us on this beautiful sunny day turned night here in the mid-mitten. But Central Michigan came into this down 2, but a power play goal early for Northwood in that period kind of opened the floodgates. They scored 4 goals in about 6 minutes time.
And again, that's another credit to how quick and high octane offense this Northwood team is. Once that third goal happened, momentum started to tilt a lot more in favor of Northwood. And again, Reagan, you mentioned how the floodgates have opened, and once those floodgates have opened, it's very tough for Central Michigan to try and contain Northwood, but they did have a bright spot with Jake Bishop potting home just his first goal since the season opener at Ferris.
Yeah, indeed. Isaac Leisner chased after goal number 5 on the game. Jones came in just a couple minutes later, had a really nice save on an initial shot from the left wing side. The rebound, though, came right to Aiden French, who potted in the back door. But again, Jones played pretty well. Gleisner faced 32 shots, 27 saves. It's, again, not exactly the performance you'd like out of him, but again, with how much Central Michigan has struggled offensively over the last couple of games,
toughest thing about this Central Michigan team, they just haven't been able to help the goalies out, and it seems like a broken record when you say it again and again and again, but there has got to be some way that Central Michigan can help their goaltenders out. They just haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, indeed. Central Michigan has, outside of their game against Northwestern and Loyola of Chicago, they haven't scored more than 4 goals, or they haven't scored more than 4 goals since all the way back on November 10th against Drury. And again, that's another opponent that you expect Central Michigan to come in and dominate, but yeah, it's been a struggle for them to get goals across. They've been shut out 3 times this season, including last night. So going forward, a lot of things you can take away. I think a little bit more of a bleak outlook than yesterday when 3-0 loss, but still, you got to be able to look at your goaltenders. Your goalies are playing well. They have played well all season. It's just a matter of getting them a little bit of offensive help. Shots in that second period, 19 again for Northwood. Gleisner faced 13 in that period. Jones faced 6 as well. 5 saves for Jones in that period. CMU only mustering 6th, brings them up to a total of 10 on the game, 38-10, the shots at the end of 40 minutes. Power plays, again, another big difference in this game. 1 for 2 for Northwood in that second period, brings them to a 2-period aggregate of 2 for 4. Central Michigan is 0 for 3. Zamboni's out on the ice about halfway through. Its laps will step aside. Out-of-town scoreboard coming up next. We'll take a look at the Griffins, the Spirit, the Wings, and maybe we'll talk Lions. We'll see. 40 minutes in the books, 6-1.
They're playing tonight.
Indeed, 40 minutes in the books, 6-1. Northwood leads here at Midland Civic Arena. Welcome back here inside Midland Civic Arena for intermission number 2. Time to take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by SeamishIceHockey.com. The Grand Rapids Griffins in action tonight against Cleveland, wrapping up a 5-game homestand, their season longest this year, but it hasn't gone so well for them. They're 1-2-0-1 with their 1 win coming in dramatic fashion, pretty dominant over the Chicago Wolves earlier this week. They lost 5-4 to Cleveland in a shootout last night in what I must say are some pretty darn good looking uniforms. Their new black uniforms, but they black out the helmets, the pants, the gloves. Looks pretty slick. Unfortunately, wasn't enough to get them into the win column last night. They do pick up a point, though, and move to 21-12, 3-1 on the campaign. That's good for first in the Central Division, second in the Western Conference. But again, they'll take on Cleveland tonight, hoping to wrap up the homestand with a win here tonight against the Monsters You can listen to Bob Kaiser and Larry Figursky on the call on Wood Radio 1300, 106.9 FM, or if you're in the Grand Rapids area, you can tune in on WXSP TV. One of the few local broadcasts the Griffins will have scattered throughout the season. That will be tonight on WXSP. If you're not local, you can watch you can watch on AHL TV as the Griffins take on the Griffins take on the Monsters here tonight. As we take a look elsewhere around the league, the Saginaw Spirit in action against the Guelph Storm here tonight. We'll get you a score update here in a minute as they're underway down over at the Dow Events Center. But they came into the night at 21-18, 1-0, 5-5 in their last 10. Here's a wild stat for you. They're second in the West Division with that 21-18, 1-0 record. They're 22 points behind the team at the top of the West Division, that being the Windsor Spitfires. We take a look. Guelph Storm coming in at 13-23, 1-1. Saginaw up 6-1, much like this game here, with 3 minutes, 30 seconds left in that third period. The Wings in action tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning at 7 p.m., 21-19, 4-0. Coming in, they have won 8 of their last 10 games and have catapulted themselves down from one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. Now just 3 points behind Boston for the final wild card spot. And as a Bruins fan, that hurts my heart just a little bit. But at the same time, it's always good to see the Wings doing well. And speaking of Detroit teams doing well, the Detroit Lions in the divisional round tonight, they take on the Washington Commanders here. At least I believe so. Let me check that. The Lions, again, in action here. Yes, indeed, against the Commanders. I was not incorrect. See, being a Bengals fan, once the playoffs kind of start, the Bengals weren't in it. I didn't really pay much attention, but a big opportunity for the Lions, the number 1 seed in the NFC here in the divisional round. I'm sure this game will be over before we get to that point, so no need to worry about a conflict here of your media here this afternoon. Stick with us. Third period coming up next. Chippewas try to salvage something in the final 20 minutes, down 6-1 to the Northwood Timberwolves. You're listening to the CMU D3 Club Hockey on the CMU Club Hockey Radio Network. Back here inside Midland Civic Arena, the puck is down at center momentarily, and we will get underway here in this third period. Indeed, Owen Campbell wins the faceoff, and the final 20 minutes of this game have commenced. Gooley out at center will chip it in off the wall. Garber to get it across the way. He'll shove it down deep. Chippewas get it back out to center. Michael, good to have you back here. And I didn't spend too much time on the Lions, but that's going to be a fun game here tonight. Home field, the Ford Field is going to be rocking, that's for sure. If last year was any indication, but that should be a fun game against the Commanders tonight.
It sure should be. A very fun game and a very nerve-wracking game. All three Detroit sports teams active today in this one. Ford Field's going to be absolutely electric tonight, and Detroit needs you to show up for the Lions game. They're just now down to, at most, a 3-game season.
Oh, a nasty deflection out in front by Todorovic on a shot from Sigmund at the right point. Fortunately for the Chippewas, it went wide, but still, pretty nasty deflection nonetheless. That comes off its moorings. We have a stoppage of play.
That was a very nasty deflection. It was a shot that went airborne, but it was knocked down immediately on the deflection, lost almost all of its speed and momentum, and could have just easily trickled in. Fortunately for Central Michigan, it did go wide.
I know we've talked about this over the last couple of games, Michael, but this Northwood team is something special over the last couple of years. Keep in mind, they didn't even have a team in 2021 and 22 and then 22-23. But credit to Jordan Cooper, a former Chippewa. As a scramble out in front, Chippewa's unable to clear it. But credit to Jordan, he has done a fantastic job over here at Northwood. He's been recruiting, and he's brought this team basically back from the dead. Look out, Stempke steals a shot. Ooh, and a nifty save there by Jones on a wide open opportunity for the Mount Pleasant native. And Jones snags it with the leather.
That is a good save, and it is a big credit to Jordan Cooper. Played at Central Michigan for quite a long time, knows what it takes to win. He was a great goal scorer, great player on offense for Central Michigan years and years ago, and now behind the bench at Northwood, recruiting players with some phenomenal talent, and he's really put together a roster that's a force to be reckoned with.
And this club is a team that Central Michigan used to beat up on. I mean, if you look at the scores in the last 10 years, 17-3, 11-1, 13-1, all for Central Michigan. And Cooper has brought this team back from almost nothing. Here's a quick shot by Kuhn from the left wing circle. It'll ricochet all the way back down the ice. But this is a team that in previous years was used to success. Before Central Michigan came onto the scene, the runners-up in 2006 and Final Four of the ACHA D3 back in 2007, so a good 2-year run for them. But this Northwood team has a long history, and Jordan Cooper has brought them back into national prominence. There's a save by Jones. Fan along the end boards flinched, right behind after that deflection. Always my opinion, if you're going to stand behind the net, you better not flinch. Same thing in a baseball game. If you get a foul ball and you're sitting right behind the screen, don't flinch.
Oh, I've fallen victim to that many times. I've sat behind the screen at Central Michigan for a baseball game, and probably not a good spot to sit when you're prone to flinching pretty hard.
Exactly. Bouncing puck out in front of the Chippewa net, controlled by Nyes now behind the goal. He'll dish it back up to the point. Temple keeps it alive. Off the high glass, down behind the goal. AUU trying to work it free. Rubbed off the puck. Big hit there by Hutton. I mean, as much as this Central Michigan team is struggling, penalty coming up here. Who's it going to be on? It's either AUU or the Chippewa who came in, and it looks like they're going to get a UU.
Yeah, UU was mixing it up right at the far half wall with a couple Central Michigan players, and at first glance, I thought that was going to go on Central Michigan because they blew the play dead when Northwood happened to touch up. So
that should have been our first clue. I just couldn't tell who touched it, whether it was a clearing attempt by CMU or a pass up at the point by Northwood. Nonetheless, Chippewa's fourth power play of the night. They are 0 for 3 thus far. And if you look at the Central Michigan roster, they're a man short. Isaac Hopp went to the dressing room at the end of that second intermission, came out, looks like he's down below us to our right in street clothes. We know it's an upper body injury. No more. Now a bouncing puck out in front. Campbell couldn't find it in his feet, and a big opportunity goes by the wayside for the Chippewas. They're still on the prowl, though. Martin, deep slot, right circle, shot by Gibbs, blocked. He gets it back, though. knocking down a clearing attempt. Another block shot. Big play there by Kroll. Now a centering feed knocked down across the way. Morgan in after it. Martin unable to keep it in the right point off the clearing attempt, and it'll come back out to neutralize. 4 minutes gone in the third period.
Really good offensive pressure here for Central Michigan. Lots of good chances. We'll see if they can reestablish the zone here. Just under a minute to go in the power play.
Here's Morgan across that line. Button hooks at the point. On the backhand, dishes it off to Gibbs, but just too far for him. He is able to dive out and keep the clearing attempt in, though. His shot blocked into the left wing corner, and it's rifled down the ice with 42 seconds to go in the power play. Sam Camara leaves it off for Jace Johnson. Will motor up ice left side. Weaving through the defense. Gets past Bishop. Look out, a loose puck in. Johnson goes sliding into the net after he lost an edge in the slot. Everybody's going to be allowed to change here with 25 seconds to go in the third period.
Jace Johnson looking a little shaken up as he slid into the net there. He has so much speed, but with greater speed, it's a little bit of a higher chance and higher prone to injury. And Jace Johnson is still a little doubled over right now. He remains on the ice. Glad to see he's okay. And a lot of that speed, Reagan, is good, but also be scary when you're going that fast.
Yeah, you got to be. It's like driving on the Autobahn in Germany. You're allowed to go as fast as you can, but it's a matter of driving safely.
Absolutely.
It's also a lot harder to get a driver's license in Germany than it is in the U.S., which is why they're allowed to have no speed limit on the Autobahn. This is dumped in by Central Michigan, goes up and out of play. 5 minutes exactly gone here in this third period. But a look ahead at the schedule for the Chippewas. They got Western Michigan next weekend, and oh boy, that's going to be fun.
That is going to be fun. Your rivals coming to town. Emotions are going to be high, especially after a tough loss to a Division I team in Northwood. Western bringing some of their guys down from the Division I program to play at Central Michigan. That is certainly going to be a fun one that you won't want to miss.
Indeed. They're 7-10 on the year. Camara steps in from the slot. A shot snapped that one wide, and now here's Siselski. Stretch pass. Connects off the stick of AUU, but he's going to have to go chase that down in the far corner. AUU tied up. Nice. Comes in, sweeps up the puck. Saucers it near side McCarthy. Time and space works in. Steve by Jones. Rebound underneath him, and a crowd's going to gather. Siselski poking away at Jones, and Camara comes to his netminder's defense, and a crowd gathers.
That was a really darn good shot by Zach McCarthy. Jones makes the save. The rebound's loose. He covers it up in a mix-up right in front of him. Nothing will come of that. Chippewas coming to the aid of their goaltender in relief.
Face off the left of Jones here. 14:38 to go. Still 6-1 Northwood. You see the difference between your D1 teams and your D3 teams. It's kind of been fun for us the last couple of days. I mean, one of the small details that you don't really think about, Chippewas have their helmets with the stripe across the middle and then the flying C's on the side. Northwood's got Microsoft stickers.
I have not even noticed that. I wonder if that's a...
Got a chance there for Harfoot, right circle. Gobbled up by Jones.
Anyway, I wonder if that's a hidden message or something with the Microsoft stickers.
I think it's more just a sponsorship. You're going to take the money where you can get it. And it just shows you the difference between your D1 teams and your D3 teams. And for CMU, hopefully you can build that D2 team into something like this Northwood team has got. But again, part of what has made this Northwood team so special has been the man behind the bench, Jordan Cooper. It's back up to the left point. I'm not just saying that because he's a former Chippewa. I don't know.
No,
French.
Absolutely.
It might be a little bit, but still, your 19-2 record in your first season at Division I after playing down in D3 and not even making the national tournament a year ago. Yeah, it's a little something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Armentrout and Zwick getting caught up on the near side. Exchange words as the puck comes back up the wing. Here's Sigmund across the line. Dropped it back. Stepping in. Shot. Save. Jones. Rebound. And he smothers it. Kroll getting a nifty opportunity from the slot about 20 feet out. He's stopped by Jones, 13:32 to go third period.
Lauren Jones being tested in this third period and at the end of that second period. He's let that one goal in at the tail end of the second period, but he's really stood his ground and really stood tall in the crease and made some really nice saves for Central Michigan.
Face off the left of Jones, right wing circle, Chippewa end to our right as they defend the goal to our right. Maroon uniforms with the gold trim, gold helmets. Northwood charging left to right in the white home uniforms with the blue strip across the middle. Just keep it in at the point did the Timberwolves. Now White down in the corner, pressured by multiple Chippewas. Siraki unable to get it for CMU. He'll get the loose puck now, though, and clear it out to center. Too far for Morgan. Chippewas back out to the neutral ice. McRae trying to backhand pass, and it's taken away over the line. White stepping in, pulled free. A shot by Kroll, snapped just wide. The rebound blown dead as the net came off its moorings behind Jones. Wait a minute, they're holding Northwood here on the line change. Seems like they should have held CMU, as it looked like it was Jones who knocked the net off. So
It looked to be that from my vantage point.
that might have just been a miscommunication between the officials. Because usually they hold the team that knocked the net off, and of course we're talking the line change procedure. But yeah, a little bit interesting. So instead, Northwood unable to get the change, but CMU pushes it deep into the Northwood end to our left. March will hold behind his own net. 12:36 to go here in regulation. Pass cut off at center. Nick Kuhn got it ahead, but it was intercepted. White stepping over the line, tried to split multiple defenders, but it was intercepted. Here's Bishop over the line left side, cutting in, lets a shot go. Easy glove save by Matthew, almost contemptuous with the ease with which he held on to that puck. 12:22 to go, third period.
That's a good heads-up play, though, from Jake Bishop. He notices that Northwood is in the process of a change, so he just takes the puck himself, calmly shoots it into the glove of Matthews, but it's an offensive zone face-off for Central Michigan.
But again, as much as the power play has struggled, so have the face-offs for CMU this season. Nifty drop feed to Gooley as the Timberwolves march right on in. They've got the puck back. Garber in the slot. Dances left circle. A shot blocker saved by Jones. Rebound held bottom of the left circle. Another save. And it's cleared back up to the point. Summit keeps it alive. Dishes it right wing side to Garber. Holds it along the hash mark. Centering feed off to Dorovic's stick. He's got it back in the far half boards. He puts it down behind the net. Big hit on Gooley there by Kamara. And now Gilgren gets run at by Todorovic as icing is called here against CMU. It looked like it was a little high, the hit on Gilgren there, but the referees let it go. 11:40 to go, third period.
Physicality keeps on persisting throughout this game. Northwood turning it up even more, and with their speed, the faster they go, the harder they hit, and it's tough to keep up with that when you're getting hit left and right for Central Michigan. And too many men on the ice for just a second. Connor Morgan had to be whistled off, and so does
It's Hutton and Miller being sent off, but with the icing, you got to keep the same five guys on the ice. What I love about that is Josh Gilgren took the hit from behind the net. He skated off, and he sat down on the bench behind all the players standing up. The referee came over and was like, "Hey, I see you. Get back on the ice." Can't get anything past these referees. Icing's going to be tipped.
No, not even
Nice
just not even just a little game of hide and seek, apparently.
It's always good to have some fun in these games. Of course, this is technically an exhibition game between the two clubs. Neither contest counts for rankings purposes for either D3 or D1. Now here's Porzondik. Cutting up ice, tried to deke it, but he lost the puck. He'll go into the corner with Zwick. Oh, look out, Porzondik. Awkward fall into the boards. Now he's tied up with the Timberwolf in the far corner, but it'll be taken out here by Northwood. Siselski up to AUU. Tried to put it through Hutton. His shot goes off of Nyes. Back up to the point for Sigmund. Slides it across. March on the one-time bid. Just wide. Nyes gets it back off the end walls near side. Rank wide feed up to the left point. March wanders into the circle. Steps in. Shot saved by Jones. Rebound comes to the far side where Miller will chip it out. That might have hit the goalpost, judging by the reaction of the bench, but yeah, either way, it stayed out. 10:26 to go, third period. Dumped into the zone by French. He's got a goal tonight, the 6th goal of the game for Northwood. He battles with Grimes behind the cage. Campbell scoops up the loose change. Captain will start things out for CMU. Left wing feed for Julian Johnson. Will dump it on in. Back behind the net. Northwood, they rim it around to the far side. Swift there to kick it out. Hutton plays it off the boards on the near side, out to center. March deposits it right back into the zone. We're over halfway through this third period. Chippewas still down 6-1. A lone goal coming from Bishop, his 2nd of the year. Now late hit thrown across the way by Zwick on Armentrout, and now Johnson gets knocked into from behind. Referee's letting a lot go here in the waning moments of this game. March up at the point, his first shot blocked in front. Centering feed knocked away from Jones, and now the net comes off again. And this time CMU will not be able to change, and the communication between the officials this time doesn't go awry.
A little bit of a late, almost sort of a cross check there by Josh Gilgner at the end. Fortunately for him, nothing was called there in the waning moments, and some of the penalties that you have been seeing earlier in the game have been now let go and just letting the gentleman play here in the final half of this third period.
Play back down behind the Central Michigan end. Bowerson skies it back to the blue line. At the other end of the ice, Armentrout on the forecheck, able to knock it away, but Matthew, good presence of mind by him to knock it away. Bodies flying here in the third period. Here's McCarthy stepping in. Stepping in. Beautiful glove save by Jones. Woo-hoo-hoo. Jones goes into the splits, flashes the leather, and denies Connor Stemke of what would have been goal number 3 on the campaign.
What a beautiful save from Lauren Jones. He is playing with a lot of confidence right now. You're down by 5, having the chance to come in for relief for Isaac Gleichner, and he is playing confident and calm in that crease here tonight. What a beautiful save.
Jones came in relief at the 12:32 mark of the second period. And he has not missed a beat, despite allowing that goal about a minute after he came in. Now, Siraki got tied up with McCarthy in the left wing corner. McCarthy goes down. The two will rejoin the play. Across the way. Summit steps around a man, lost an edge, lost the puck as well. Here's Morgan steaming up right wing across that line, cutting in with speed. Snap that one wide. And it'll ricochet back into the Central Michigan end. Off the boards. There by Camara. Garber winding his way through center. Gooley on the near side will angle it on ahead to Garber. He steps in. Nifty toe drag right in on Jones. Save. Rebound. Just put wide by the captain, Todorovic. Oh boy, Northwood has had a couple of grand opportunities here in this third period, but still, somehow, Jones has been able to keep it out of the net, or the Northwood Timberwolves just put it wide. Now Todorovic across that line, dropped it back. Gooley left point, centered it to Garber. Thought about the shot, let it go though. He's got it left half wall, or right half wall, sends it across to the far point. Too far for Sigmund, and he's in a race with Johnson. And, Temple throws the body, and Johnson now knocked down from behind. No penalty coming here. I don't necessarily mind the referees letting them play. Opens up the ice, makes it a little bit more fun. Now here's Saselski working in. Big save there by Jones again. Guides that to the far corner. Ayuyu dropped it up top. Ciceretto from center. Spins it on in. Camara will work back behind his own goal. Back there for Camara with 6:55 to go here in the third period. But all Northwood scored 2 goals in the first, 4 in the second. You have to get one across here in the third. That's been in part due to Lauren Jones. Now look out. Oh, a pass ahead just too far for Nyes. Race for it. Johnson and Nyes go to the boards. Johnson unable to gain control. AU working behind the net. Working the far side. Oh, button hook pressured by Hutton. Those two go behind the goal. Nyes knocked down in front. Looked like by Owen Campbell. Siselski off the left point. Puts it down behind Hutton and the UU getting into it out in front of the goal. Grimes behind the net, shuffles it near side. Johnson and March go down. March, though, pinching in from the point, kept it alive for Northwood. Behind the net, Grimes picking up the loose change, swings it around the boards. Johnson thought he had somebody with him. Put his hand up in the air rather than going after the puck. Now Campbell across the line for CMU the other way. Tried the toe drag in front, knocked off of it by Ciceretto. Now those two go to the half boards. Porzonic pulled it off the wall. Campbell spun it out in front, intercepted, and it'll be taken behind the net. Here by Siselski. Porzonic on the forecheck there with Isaac Gibbs, wearing number 88, Ryan Grolo's jersey. My guess is, on further review, he might have forgotten it at home.
Oh, true. That could be a factor in that for sure.
But nonetheless, he confused us for about half the game until we figured it out. Now Isaac Gibbs will flick it out to center. McCarthy, D to D, across the way to Summit. Back to McCarthy with 5 minutes to go in this third period. And of all the things you can take out of this series, Michael, I think your top line guys played well. Well, big collision across the way. McCray getting into it there with a Timberwolf across the way. That's Cooper Harfoot. But still, nonetheless, I think Andrew Porzonic has been a good addition to this lineup. He's got points in 3 of his 4 games since he returned, and although the power play hasn't been as good as of late, have only scored 1 power play goal since coming back from the break. I think his presence as leadership on this team certainly makes a difference.
It really does, Reagan. Porzonic is a well-known veteran on this Chippewa team, and he hasn't played for all of the first semester, just only a few games in the second, but he's really the kind of guy that the Chippewas really need. A veteran presence, someone who knows how to score goals efficiently and effectively in big games. He had hat trick most notably against Missouri State a couple years ago.
Now Northwood working right on it. We'll get back to Porzonic here in a minute. Stempke worked it up top. Look out. Sigmund in with speed. Skied it over top of the goal. Angled his way in the right wing circle. Temple threw it down low from the left point. Intercepted by Campbell. He'll try to sky this ahead just too far for Siraki. And the icing is going to be waved off. Good opportunity there for CMU. They just can't connect. But Porzonic, the senior out of Macomb, had a fantastic year back in 22-23. 23 points, 17 assists, good for 40 points. Career highs in goals and assists for him that season. 17 higher than his previous totals, or previous high points of 23. But since then, last year, say he had a down year, but still at 21 points. But I think, again, he might not get to 20 this season with only 6 games remaining after tonight. But I think over this last 6 games, you got to find something to build momentum into the MCHC tournament. And I think, especially with last night's effort in particular, I think you can garner a lot of confidence going in to the games against Western Michigan, and then Cincinnati at the end of the season.
Certainly. And those are, again, the kind of teams that you're going to need to play going forward in the march toward the MCHC. It's win or go home from there in the playoffs. And Central Michigan and Michigan, 2 teams that really know each other well, particularly in the first round or so of the MCHC playoffs.
Indeed, those 2 teams played each other multiple times in the first year back from COVID in that shortened 2020 to 21 campaign. Played each other 4 different times, including a game in the national tournament. Hammer shot there by Campbell. Big block out in front. Oh, that one stung Colin March, and he's going to hobble off to the bench. Stemke at center will turn and dump this one on in. 1:43 to go in the Gooley Minor penalty for a high stick. That's what that previous stoppage of play was. Here's Martin. Corralling the rink wide feed. He'll dump it on in. But yeah, you mentioned Michigan, and Central Michigan last year upset the Wolverines on senior night at home in first time they'd beaten the Wolverines in regulation in almost 5 years. It had one win in overtime that came back in the 2021, or probably the 21-22 campaign. But those two, barring crazy results around the rest of the conference, those two will meet 3 times in the last 3 weeks of the season.
Absolutely, Reagan. And each time, although it may seem like a different matchup, you'll only have to change some things maybe ever so slightly because each team has a different game plan. And sure, they'll maybe change game plans for how they go throughout the course of the remaining weeks of the season as they lead up to the final weeks of the regular season and to playoffs. But it'll really be interesting to see how Central Michigan fares against a Michigan team who they're going to see quite often in the waning weeks of the season.
Yeah, Michigan hasn't played a ton this season. Only 11 games in that first semester, and they were playing a home and home with Notre Dame here this afternoon. 1:05 to go here in regulation. Icing looks like it's going to be the call against Central Michigan, and it is, as they miscommunicate on a pass there. But Michigan stands right behind CMU in the MCHE standings right now. The problem is they got 5 games in hand on us, and with Michigan holding a 2-1 record, they're most likely going to pass us, especially with that pivotal. It actually might come down to a pivotal series late in the year, just at the start of February, the 7th and the 8th. But yeah, 3 key matchups coming in later on this week. Look out, Soselski on the intercept, working around the outside of the zone. Left wing side as the power play is over. Comes back up to the point. Chop down to Soselski in the corner. Soselski working behind the cage, right circle, trying to set it up top. Sigmund pinching in from the blue line, kept it alive. Skitters across the way. Bishop, though, on the intercept from Gilgren. Working up the right wing. Nifty drop pass to Johnson, but poked away from him by Nyes. Under 30 seconds to play here in period 3. Johnson has it caught in his skates, trying to work it free. Right circle, works it back up for Grimes. Shot deflected out in front. Matthew made the save. Rebound. Bishop digging away at it. It's still loose, and Matthew eventually finds it and covers it. And the net came off its moorings as well, with 11.5 to go in regulation. Good scramble in front there for CMU.
It is a really good scramble. And Jake Bishop again getting in there, making lots of traffic in front of that, trying to get into the dirty and gritty areas in the final seconds here of this one, Reagan. But I think that's something else that Central Michigan can play with a lot of confidence in going forward. Being able to get bodies in front of goaltenders and putting people in front in position to pot home rebounds.
Face off the left of Matthew, who's played well tonight. You know, a goaltender's having a slow night when he's doing stretches, and we saw him doing those stretches back in the second period, but he plays well tonight. So do the rest of the Timberwolves as they knock off Central Michigan as the buzzer expires. 6-1 the final here from Midland Civic Arena. Well, the teams spill off. They'll go for handshakes. We'll step aside, take a break, come back for the postgame show here on CCHN, presented by Optimex Sports. Timberwolves 6, Chippewas 1, here on a beautiful Saturday night. not the result Central Michigan wanted, a 6-1 final here against the Northwood Timberwolves, but again, not exactly unexpected. Going in against a top 25 Division I opponent, you lose 6-1, but I think in order to understand this game and this weekend, you got to take it holistically. Central Michigan comes out and plays against Northwood's second stringers. Now, again, they're second. They didn't have Garber last night. They didn't have Gooley, but still credit to them. They played well, and I think they carried that over into tonight, at least in that first period. Despite the power play goal, they did a lot. They did a lot right, especially in that third period as well.
Oh, no doubt, Reagan. Central Michigan has a lot to be proud of. The results, again, not what you want necessarily for the maroon and gold, but they can take a lot of pride in themselves in knowing that they played a really tough Division I opponent really well, especially in the third period, not allowing a goal anymore. Lauren Jones making incredible saves in the crease, and only a 2-goal first period. So you're able to match up with these really quick and really tough opponents like Northwood, and going in to the waning weeks of the season as well as the playoffs. That's the kind of confidence you need to garner going forward.
Yeah, and as much as, and there are those good things, but again, I don't want to dwell on this too much, but the power play needs to get better. You're 0 for 5 tonight. You're now 0 for your last, or you're 1 for your last 25 on the road, or at least away from home if you include the neutral site games in that North Shore Classic. It has been a struggle to get this power play going, despite the fact that you now have Owen Campbell back in the lineup. You have Andrew Porzonik. What's got to change? How do they get going?
It's a really good question indeed, Reagan. And for Central Michigan, something's got to get going. I feel like in terms of generating chances and cycling the puck, and you hit it earlier today, reestablishing the offensive zone when they have a puck cleared out and just trying to create a rush back into the offensive zone and cycle the puck. Central Michigan hasn't been able to do that, but you're absolutely right. 1 for 25 on the road this season. That's an ugly number, and that's certainly got to change going forward.
No, I should say 1 for the last 25.
Sure.
They're not 1 for 25 overall. In fact, they've got a pretty good click on the road. They're sitting at right about 25%, especially like coming into the weekend. They had 11 goals in the power play and about 50 opportunities. They're doing, like, overall, their numbers are good, but again, it's those slow things that take control over time, and eventually, especially if you want to make a run at the Vezina Cup, because let's be honest, your chances of a national tournament at this point, very slim. But in order to get that Vezina Cup at the end of the year, you're going to have to get things going well, because you're going to have to go through Lawrence Tech. You're going to have to go through Oakland. You're going to have to go through Hope if you get that far. Those things have got to change.
Certainly. And there's a few more weeks left in the season, but they can start changing it, especially during their next weekend when they host Western Michigan. It'll be a fun one. Emotions will be high with the rivalry coming in. So Martin Ice Arena should hopefully have a packed venue there, even though it's only seats about, gosh, I don't know the number off my head. It doesn't seat that many.
I think in terms of the bleachers, it seats around 75. Standing room, you can get 200 folks in there. But either way, if you're a CMU fan, spread the word. Western Michigan next weekend. Let's get you the time here as I take a look at my stat packet. 4:30 p.m. at Martin. That is the start time, not the warm-up time. If what I just said is incorrect, check the Twitter later this week. CMU against Western Michigan next week. Western is 7-10, a much better team than they have been in the past few years. CMU, they can't take Western lightly, but that's going to be a fantastic series. What do they need to do next week to win?
Well, I think in terms of what they need to do next week, you got to take what you can take as a positive out of this weekend for Central Michigan. You did get a bit of chances. You're able to create traffic in front of the net and pot home some rebounds if you have the right place at the right time and you make those goaltenders work. You're matching the quick pace of play with people step for step. You're laying the body. You're bringing the physicality. So Central Michigan's doing a lot of things well. I think in terms of just the power play, that's got to really get going for Central Michigan. But if you can clean up some of the miscommunications and the turnovers and the bad giveaways, I think you can really see Central Michigan lock heads with this Western Michigan team.
That should be a fun one. Friday the 24th at 4:30 and Saturday the 25th on the road at 8:45 p.m. This is the first time these two teams have met since before the COVID year. So a rivalry that we've been wanting to get going for a long time. I know last year when they had the outdoor, when North Carolina and NC State had the outdoor game at Raleigh, Joe, our social media guy, put out a post that said, "Hey, we should have an outdoor game. CMU Western Michigan at Kelly Short Stadium. What do you think?" Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. But the closest we're going to get is this rivalry game, rivalry series next week. And again, Friday at 4:30 and Saturday at 8:45. Both those games right here on CCHN if you can't make it. But if you can, pack the Marty on Friday. It should be a fun one. Final look at the out-of-town scoreboards. The Griffins just underway against the Cleveland Monsters at 7 p.m. You can watch that on WXSP if you're in Grand Rapids, AHL TV, or listen to it on Wood Radio. Bob Kaser, Larry Figursky have the call for you on all three of those platforms. This is the last of a 5-game homestand for the Griffins. Spirit knocked off the Storm by a final score of 6-2, and then the Wings, again, likewise, just getting underway at Tampa Bay. It's 1-0 already?
1-0 Tampa Bay, and who else but Braden Point? He's been absolutely electric for the Lightning. Well, maybe a little bit of a pun intended there.
Indeed. Hopefully hopefully the Wings can tie that game back up. I'm in too much of an ACHA mood right now. Before we head out, this is a reminder that the broadcast of today's game was a copyrighted presentation of the American Collegiate Hockey Association, the CMU Club Hockey Network, and Moorhall Television. No reproduction, retransmission, or other distributions of the descriptions or accounts of this game may take place without the express written consent of the ACHA, CCHN, and MHTV. We'd also like to thank head coach Jordan Cooper and their public address announcer, Nick Kroll, for getting us set up for today's game. Nick wasn't with us here today, was off with his son and daughter as they were having some fun elsewhere, but he gave us the pronunciation guide for Northwood, got us set up with Jordan Cooper. Thanks to both of them. The equipment, the on-ice microphones, which you didn't have tonight, but we had yesterday, so we might as well shout them out anyway. Moorhall Television gave us those. Didn't have nobody else with us today, which is why we were on radio. But as always, everybody at CCHN, we appreciate all of your support here. Whether it's TV or radio, we appreciate your understanding.
Absolutely. It's always so much fun to do these games and travel to these different venues with you, Reagan. Midland Civic Arena, beautiful mezzanine level vantage point here. Just getting set up. It's just like, wow, this is a great vantage point.
It's as close as you and I are going to get to a press box at this level.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic. A great vantage point from up here. We were just inside the Chippewa blue line here throughout the night. That's just about going to do it for us here this afternoon, but we'll be right back next weekend when Central Michigan takes on Western Michigan at the D3 level, and boy, that is going to be a fun series. You better count on it. Well, until then, my name is Reagan